What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6HH Chapter 156 This is my age, my world, fourth more seeking subscription. Not only Naruto, but Kakashi in the lobby also showed an incredible color. I don't understand, the indescribable and fused energy floating out of Naruto and Sasuke. After all, what is it? He could only vaguely feel that it was an existence that had never been felt before and surpassed all the cognitions in the past. Hinata immediately assumed a fighting posture, very familiar. This breath is very similar to the breath when I saw Otsutsuki Hamura on the moon 3 years ago. The energy rising from the bodies of Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke gathered together in midair and form a human form in a moment. Byakugan shrank in Hinata's eyes. And in the huge man-made Tensigan space on the moon, it looks like Otsutsuki Hamura, the ancestor of Hyuga. I didn't expect that someone capable of using technique would force the operator out of the host. The mature old man, no, sage of 6 paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo said in a deep voice. The existence of the non-Otsutsuki clan can actually do such a thing. With that, sage of 6 paths fixed his gaze on Yèyuè Guāng in the form of a demigod. Before death, the last chakra is divided into yin and yang, each of which is housed in a son's body, double insurance, and no matter how they reincarnated, they will not be able to get rid of the parasitism of their father, cows, really cows. Yèyuè Guāng praised from the heart. Even for the Otsutsuki clan, the only ones who can truly be immortal and immortal are the Kyoichi people who have served the fruits of the sacred tree. Although the two brothers Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura were tough, they could not escape the natural cycle of death in the end. But it can rely on the technique of the Otsutsuki clan to achieve another kind of immortality. Otsutsuki Hamura is the last chakra that is lodged on the moon. The Otsutsuki family has believed in the artificial Tensigan for generations. And Otsutsuki Hagoromo is even more amazing, lodged directly in the body of his 2 sons. I don't know what Indra and Ashura would think if they knew. And even the reincarnation can't escape the pervert tracking of my dad. At this time, in Konoha village, the face of Wooden Golem who had just arranged the evacuation of the villagers changed suddenly. He covered his abdomen and fell to the ground on one knee. By Wooden Golem. What's wrong? Sammy crouched down next to her and tried to lift her up. Advertisement. This feeling is, the mood of the tail beast is very wrong. What's going on? Ba Ga Yi Lu, Xiaoba is emotionally unstable. On the other side of the village, Gaara, Kimimaro, and Killer Bee who are also Jinchuriki also showed pain. The tail beast in their bodies seemed to feel something. It can make them feel uncomfortable, who are now perfect Jinchuriki. In order to protect the peace of the next world, we have to use this method. Sage of 6 paths also knows that such a method is not very glamorous, and reluctantly finds an excuse for himself. Come on, you are afraid of death. If you are afraid of death, why do you have so many high-sounding reasons? Yèyuè Guāng waved his hand and said with a look of disgust. It's as if the reincarnations of your 2 sons have been tossing the world with smoke for thousands of years. You can stop it. Sage of 6 paths was speechless for a while. Before he was dying, he divided chakra into yin and yang, and lodged with his eldest son Indra and second son Ashura. Naturally, the 2 sons were reincarnated from generation to generation, and the struggle for thousands of years seemed to be in the eyes. But in his opinion, as long as it is not serious enough to ruin the whole world, or if you didn't attract people from Otsutsuki's family, you don't need to worry about it too much. The same goes for Otsutsuki Hamura on the moon. If it weren't for the branch house of Otsutsuki Sharon, the branch house was so noisy that they even wanted to destroy the earth. Otherwise he would not show up, forcing me out. What is your purpose? Sage of 6 paths obviously didn't want to discuss this issue with Yèyuè Guāng anymore, and asked with a frown. For thousands of years, he has been lurking in the reincarnations of his 2 sons, and each other is in peace. But I never thought that someone could crack the technique. And through the perspective of Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. The man named Yèyuè Guāng in front of him is obviously not a nasty existence. Especially in this form, it has never been seen before in Sage of 6 paths, the ancestor of Ninzong. It's nothing, it's just that everything is coming to an end now, and I don't want any more changes. Yèyuè Guāng shrugged and sneered, then shouted sharply. This is my time, my world, I don't allow dead spirits to get in the way. -0 seeking flowers. From the previous events, Yèyuè Guāng can speculate that Wentu has taken away Rinnegan from Nagato. Advertisement. In other words, the arrival of the final battle is a matter of time. And until he adapts to Rinnegan's abilities, Uchiha Obito will not take any action. What Yèyuè Guāng wanted to do was to take advantage of this gap to resolve all uncertain factors. Sage of 6 paths hidden in Naruto and Urzuzi is one of them. Although I think he is just a tool man to give Naruto Sasuke a hangout. But he has traveled to the world of Naruto for more than 30 years. Yèyuè Guāng understands that any small action may turn into an unpredictable storm. Not to mention the behemoth Sage of 6 paths, 0. The ghost knew that he was solving the old yin ratios of Runtu, Black Zetsu and even Madara. Sage of 6 paths, the old man, would he also jump out and do something? What's more, the Otsutsuki family have always been representatives of Naruto World. Now that you have time, it's better to get rid of this stuff as soon as possible. You want to kill me? Sage of Six Paths vaguely guessed Yèyuè Guāng's mind. Even the chakra body form without a body still exploded with the majestic power that shocked ordinary ninjas like Kakashi. Kill you? You were already dead, right? Kill you. Yèyuè Guāng mocked and said, I just want to send you back to where you were supposed to go. Don't miss the real world if you were a dead person. Without an old man, the world would collapse. Sage of Six Paths' tone became colder. Yo, isn't this world still good without you for thousands of years? I really regard myself as a god of creation. Yèyuè Guāng really feels that the Uchiha clan's brain circuit is so peculiar, and it is inherited from Otsutsuki. When you started ninjutsu, you really thought you were the sun, and the earth should revolve around you. Although I don't have a body, I haven't been weak enough to be slaughtered by others. The moment when the voice of Sage of Six Paths fell. Without warning, Uzumaki Shrine was shattered by the bombing, and 9 tails actually appeared in full form. More than that, all around Konoha village, 1 tail Shozuru, 2 tails Matabi, 5 tails Kakuo, 8 tails Gyuki are concentrated in the village. All are awakened in their perfect form. Chapter 157 The Dead Should Die, 5th More Seeking Subscription. What's the situation? In the village, the ninjas who had just finished the evacuation of the villagers looked around in disbelief. The Jinchuriki appeared one after another in the form of complete body-tailed beasts. Run away? Will perfect Jinchuriki run away too? In this case, I will open the 8 gate to stop them? Might Guy crossed his hands and wanted to open the 8 inner gates. Wait, Guy, things don't seem right. Unlike the original, there is no pregnant Yu Rihong wave to stop Dao. Might Guy and other ninjas around heard this? He raised his head and looked at the tail beasts that looked like a hill. It did not run out of control like the 9 tails disaster 16 years ago. Instead, they all moved out of the village. What is the situation? What happened to the tail beasts? 73. Had it been foreseen for us to transfer villagers to evacuation in advance? Whether it is Konoha Shinobi or Cloud Shinobi's ninja, they are all confused by this strange situation. Calm down everyone, as Hokage's assistant and one of Yèyuè Guāng's wife, Ma Bui shouted. Hurry up and build up defenses to avoid accidents. The guards and Anbu will catch up and observe the situation of the tail beast. Under Mabui's command, all the talents gradually calmed down and took their place. And in a ward of Konoha Hospital, it is rare to return to the village of Tsunade with half-empty eyes, looking in the direction where the tail beasts left. Which direction is Uzumaki Shrine? And behind the first loss, Uchiha Spring was lying on the hospital bed. The Uzumaki Shrine is already in a mess. Thunder flashes suddenly, appearing right in front of 9 tails. Yèyuè Guāng looked up at Sage of Six Paths standing on top of 9 tails' forehead and smiled. You can actually do this kind of thing. At the end of the original 4th Ninja War, Sage of Six Paths in addition to hanging out for the prince in the 2nd pillar. It will only use Impure World Reincarnation Solution, Pure Land Reincarnation and other ninjutsu involving souls. But it's not surprising. After all, no matter if he is in the form of a spiritual body without a physical body, it is impossible to use Shenluo Tianzheng, Planetary Devastation and other moves. But I didn't expect that he could even control the tail beast. Advertisement, Master Ever. Sasuke was taken away. Kakashi, who was behind, shouted loudly. When Gang 09 Tails turned out, he wanted to pull Sasuke. Unexpectedly, 9 Tails grabbed Sasuke in his hands faster than himself. At this moment, it was also placed on top of 9 Tails' head and at the feet of Sage of Six Paths. Yeah, that's why you have to kill the accident in the cradle. Yèyuè Guāng also noticed the 2 pillars lying at the feet of Sage of Six Paths. Can't help but shook his head and sighed. Occasionally unexpected things can indeed add some fun. But if it goes too far, it will become troublesome. The Sage of Six Paths in front of me is an out-and-out big trouble. Dong dong dong, immediately afterwards, a thunderous vibration sounded. Kakashi looked around again. In addition to 9 tails, the 4-tailed beasts, including 1 tail, 2 tails, 5 tails and 8 tails, have also arrived. Surround yourself with Yèyuè Guāng and Hinata. Difficult, can it be said that that person is really the originator of ninjutsu, Sage of Six Paths? He can give all these perfect Jinchuriki. Kakashi couldn't believe it. The majestic and impactful chakra gushes out of Hinata's pupils. Hinata's eyes also turned into Tensigen, and he looked around vigilantly. Hell Stab 4 Kanshu. Hell Stab Sanban Kano. Hell Stab Urban Kano. At the moment when his eyes became Tensigen, Hinata was covered in golden lightning. The whole person turned into a golden meteor, constantly impacting on the tail beasts that came. In the blink of an eye, you will force 1 tail, away and 5 tails back. When the golden meteor appeared in front of 8 tails Gyuki, there is only 1 index finger left on the cocked finger of the right hand. Hell Stab Yiben Kanshu. Hinata is falling and swooping, and the meteor falls like a falling star. The 8 tails, the second most powerful among the 9 big tail beasts, slammed into the air. The huge body that looked like a hill was like a ball being kicked out. He flew into the air at a height of several hundred meters and then hit it heavily. Landed in the forest on the outskirts of Konoha village. Ahem. Advertisement. Even in the state of being manipulated, 8 Tails could not help but let out a cry. And many Konoha guards, Anbu, and Cloud Shinobi ninjas who rushed over. 0. I also witnessed the scene where Hinata crushed the 4 tail beasts. Everyone was dumbfounded. The last time I saw Hinata outrageous was the Chunin exam 3 years ago, right? Although at that time, the strength that Hinata showed was shocking enough. But when they saw it today, they suddenly realized. Their 5th Hokage-sama, before they know it, has become so strong. I do not know Huo Xuanjian. Okay, so strong, really strong. Might guy. The 4 tail beasts were all driven back in an instant. Shi Rihong. What kind of existence did that be? Did Yèyuè Guāng cultivate? That's from Hamura. Did he give you the last chakra? Standing on top of 9 tails, Sage of 6 Paths looked at Hinata, who was covered in gold thunder with a complicated expression. That was the same Tensigen as his brother. Without the assistance of Otsutsuki Hamura, it would be impossible to awaken those eyes. The dead should follow the laws of nature and go to that world. Hinata looked at Sage of 6 Paths calmly with Tensigen and then said. Eduo-sang is right, don't miss this world, Senior Sage of 6 Paths. Roar. At this time, the tailed beasts who had just been shot by Hinata's hell stab gradually stood up again. He let out a low growl and gathered around here again. Upon seeing this, Hinata frowned slightly and took a breath to pose as Hamura Ryu gentle fist starting pose. Your only 2.3 attack method is to control the tail beast? Yèyuè Guāng gradually floated into the air by magnetic force, at a level with the Sage of 6 Paths above 9 tails. In the form of a demigod, thunder and lightning exudes holy light. At the moment when everyone hasn't reacted, has gathered in various positions of 9 tails' body. In an instant, it seemed as if another pair of invisible god's hands slapped a mosquito in the middle. Roar. 9 tails uttered a miserable cry, and was convulsed by the holy light. The wrinkles on Sage of 6 Paths' face twisted together. The tin stick in his hand is lightly on the foot. The sleeping 2 pillars gradually floated. What does he want to do? Everyone who rushed over, including many Xiaoqiang, saw this scene, and they couldn't help but have an unknown premonition. Chapter 158. Do you want to use 2 pillars to resurrect? 6th more seeking subscription? In the gaze of countless people, the sleeping 2 pillars gradually floated up and suspended beside Sage of 6 Paths. What does he want to do? I, Haruno Sakura, live because of Sasuke's Sakura, who feels uneasy. Immediately afterwards, the body of Sage of 6 Paths became semi-transparent and gradually overlapped with Uchiha Sasuke. The next moment, the Erzu who had fallen into the world of Tsukuyomi suddenly opened his closed eyes. The pupils in their daily form instantly changed to the form of 3 Tomo Sharingan. And the 3 Guyu in the pupils turned into 6-pointed stars under the extremely fast rotation. Mangekyo Sharingan. Is Sasuke awakened too? Kakashi exclaimed in astonishment. However, the mutation is not over yet. On the right side of Uchiha Sasuke's forehead, a long horn measuring about 5 centimeters suddenly appeared. That is, the mark of the Otsutsuki clan. Here, what happened? Sasuke-kun, what happened to him? Haruno Sakura shouted anxiously. Do you want to use Erzuzi's body to resurrect? Yèyuè Guāng, who was magnetically suspended in the air, shouted, adding a little smile to his random face. But with that kid's current strength, even if you resurrect with his body, you will at most reach the level of Super Shadow, right? At the end of the original work, Black Zetsu used 6 Paths Madara to resurrect Kagaya, which is actually a way of using technique. Black Zetsu itself is a will body created by Kagaya. He used the technique in 6 Paths Madara as a container to resurrect Kagaya-ji. The conditions for the resurrection of Kagaya-ji as the goddess of Yuo are extremely harsh. Not only 10 tails Jinchuriki, and it has to be a pure Otsutsuki bloodline, such as the reincarnation of Indra or Ashura. This is why Black Zetsu did not use 6 Paths Obito as a container. Even with 6 Paths Obito, Otsutsuki Kagaya can be resurrected. But it is never possible to achieve the power of resurrection using 6 Paths Madara as a container. Ruff breaks through the 6 Paths level and reaches the realm of true gods. Right now, no matter the second pillar is still Naruto. The strength is also at the level of Jonin's elite. Even if Sage of 6 Paths resurrected with their bodies, heaven-defying would have super shadow power. It's not a concern at all. Resurrection. Kakashi raised his head in astonishment and shouted at Yèyuè Guāng. Master Everbright, if that person really resurrected with Sasuke's body, what would happen to Sasuke? Advertisement, who knows, but I have made up my mind to get rid of this stuff. In the demigod form, Yèyuè Guāng's holy light thundered and exploded even more exaggerated. The blind can feel that he is really moving. The 6-pointed star Mangekyo in the twin pupils of the 2 pillars controlled by Sage of 6 Paths spins sharply. The dark purple chakra turned into Susanoo's bones and began to cover the surface of 9 tails underneath. Hey, is it difficult to use wild beasts from the beginning? Yèyuè Guāng raised his eyebrows. Uchiha Madara also developed a stunt to wear Susanoo on the tail beast. Although he was defeated by Shinsu Senju of Senju Hashirama, he was also seriously injured. Although it is not eternal Mangekyo, it is also possible to use Susanoo. But the price is the next 50 to 50 is an excellent example. Use it once and you'll be blind. The pupil power consumed by Susanoo is not something that ordinary Mangekyo can bear. But it is estimated that the second pillar has just opened its eyes, and has not yet officially used the power of these eyes. In addition, it is driven by Sage of Six Paths, so it shouldn't be blinded after using it once. Roar. Wearing Susanoo's armor, Nine Tails, who had re-entered the beast's difficult form after a lapse of decades, burst out hissing roar. Everyone present can be regarded as experiencing what it was like to face Uchiha Madara Senju Hashirama back then. Everyone, go back! Kakashi hurriedly shouted. This is not a battle we can intervene. Konoha village is my possession, I can't let you destroy it. Yèyuè Guāng stretched his hands, and the thunder spear covered by the holy light appeared. First, get out of my territory first. The moment the voice fell, Yèyuè Guāng threw the thunder gun at Nine Tails suddenly. God's thunder spear. The huge difference in size is like shooting a tiger with a toothpick. However, at the moment of touching, the Suzu armor on the surface of Nine Tails' body was shattered like glass hit by rock, peeling off numerous crystal fragments. The huge body also kept flying backwards. I don't know how many hills were crushed along the way, and finally disappeared in everyone's field of vision. Eduo-san. Seeing Yèyuè Guāng preparing to catch up, Hinata subconsciously shouted. Leave the other four to you, Hinata, let them be quiet, and when I kill the old man, they should be able to return to normal. Yèyuè Guāng left a word to Hinata. Advertisement. It also disappeared into the air instantly, drew an arc in the sky, and rushed straight to the end of the night sky. Hinata looked around and was about to rush to reinforce the other four tail beasts of Sage of Six Paths. Tensigan suddenly poured out a more majestic chakra. Universal pull. Gravity drags back the tail beasts who are ready to flee. But even for Hinata, it is still a bit troublesome to drag the four-tailed beasts alone. Immediately, the white face began to sweat. Reinforce Naruto-sama. Might Guy hurriedly shouted. Others heard that they took out weapons one after another, or made ninjutsu-ji and gestures to launch reinforcements. Everyone stand farther away. However, Hinata gave orders that were diametrically opposed to everyone's actions. Just when everyone didn't know what Hinata wanted to do, 703 Hyuga Hanabi saw Hinata put his hands together. I remembered the trick that Hinata practiced before and hurriedly shouted. Everyone, step back, otherwise you will get involved. In less than half a second, everyone felt the ground under their feet start to move violently. The big tree more than 10 meters high was uprooted, and the endless sand and gravel wrapped the tail beasts and swallowed their endless neighing Vice Admiral. Planetary devastation. 10 miles away. The 9 tails of 9 tails in the form of the beast's difficulty all give birth to a sword of Susao. Between the waves, there is a destructive power that can flatten a mountain. Good eyes, it's a shame to be blinded like this. Yèyuè Guāng secretly evaluated, and began to calculate his own small abacus. However, in Yèyuè Guāng's view, the speed of the beast's dilemma is too slow. Although it is a map gun level attack, it is meaningless if it fails to hit. If it is the Tomb of Six Paths Madara Edge Prison, there may be a chance of hitting yourself. You have lived for thousands of years, so you don't want to die? Yèyuè Guāng yelled and waved. The storm of violent thunder fell. Like a hammer of sanctions under Thor's command, the real thunder. 9 tails, which covered more than 95% of its body with Suzu armor, was instantly smashed to the ground. The armor on his body turned into countless fragments, soaring and scattered. Chapter 159. The Aura of Ashura and Indra, first more seeking subscription. The violent thunder caused by the real thunder. Even the Six Paths class dare not say the next unscathed. Not to mention the strength of Prestige 9 tails is also super shadow level. It fell to the ground by lightning, like a livestock waiting to be slaughtered. Simply lazy to get up. The two pillars with long horns on the forehead frowned. Indeed, as Yèyuè Guāng said, he could not exert his strength at all. Even if he resurrected with Uchiha Sasuke's body forcibly. That's it, right? What the ancestor of ninja sect, in the final analysis, is a mortal who is nostalgic for the world and does not want to die. Yèyuè Guāng in the form of a demigod sneered and said. But this is understandable, after all, no one wants to die. But I'm sorry, long ago, I made up my mind, as long as all the Otsutsuki clan guys, I must kill them all without leaving them. Yèyuè Guāng twisted his wrists. The thunderlight flooded by the holy light turned into angel-like wings behind, and as Yèyuè Guāng's arms were raised, they were wrapped around them in the form of natural disasters. After all, your clan's ability to do things is amazing. If you don't completely kill it, you will be like leeks, growing one after another. If you want to use the body of the second pillar to resurrect, use it. Anyway, I don't care about his life or death. Let's run through it together with his body and your soul. The thunderlight in the form of a demigod burst out with a huge voltage that could annihilate everything. There is no hint of mercy. Even if you want to take the life of the second pillar, you must kill a member of the troubled family. Second pillar, no, Sage of Six Paths frowned, die? For him who has existed for thousands of years, it is really a very distant vocabulary. Even the physical body was destroyed thousands of years ago. But through the continuous reincarnation of the two sons, he still survived in this world unharmed. Otsutsuki Hagoromo does not think he is afraid of death. Just to protect the world he created. If you don't have yourself, then this ninja world will be wiped out by your mother and the Otsutsuki family. I will never allow this to happen. Advertisement. Thinking of this, Sage of Six Paths' eyes flashed with determination. If you use this body to resurrect, your strength should be strengthened by another level. Even if it is still impossible to use the strength of your original body, if you want to withdraw from here, should it still be possible? Stop it for me. At this moment, let alone Sage of Six Paths, even Yèyuè Guāng did not expect it. Nine Tails, who was suppressed by the falling thunder, made a double overlapped sound like Naruto and Nine Tails. Immediately afterwards, Nine Tails, who was suppressed by the falling thunder, raised her right front paw abruptly, pulling down the Sage of Six Paths, stepping on her head and shouting. Sasuke is not yours. Here, get me out of his body. I really didn't expect that this is the so-called protagonist halo. Can I actually ask Sage of Six Paths restraints with willpower? Yèyuè Guāng was shocked. You know, Naruto, unlike the other four Jinchuriki in Konoha village, has completely mastered the power of the tail beast. There is no way for the other four, he is the only one who can ask Sage of Six Paths restraints. Not what is the protagonist halo? In other words, is this the power of love for Ashura and Indra for generations to come? Roar. Nine Tails once again uttered a double roar mixed with Naruto and Kurama. Pinch the thumbnail of the right paw of Sage of Six Paths and pierce the long horn that grows on the top of Uchiha Sasuke's forehead. This kind of thing, give me disappear. Under the roar, the long horns on the head of the second pillar were cut off by Nine Tails, Naruto, with sharp nails like blades. That horn is obviously the energy core of Sage of Six Paths controlling the second pillar. After being cut off by Nine Tails, Naruto, Sharingan, the six-pointed star spinning wildly in his pupils, quickly faded back to the ordinary three-hooked jade, and then in less than half a second, it changed back to the usual black eye state. At the same time, Sage of Six Paths in the spirit state, as if it had been rejected, was forced to leave Uchiha Sasuke's body. Ashura, you won. Sage of Six Paths in the soul state looked at Nine Tails grinning at him in disbelief. I am not Ashura, and Sasuke is not Indra. Don't impose your ideas on the two of us. Naruto roared with the help of Nine Tails' mouth, and then turned to look at Yèyuè Guāng. Uncle Guāng, hurry up. See, Sage of Six Paths has broken away from the second pillar. Yèyuè Guāng, who originally planned to destroy Uchiha Sasuke's body with his ultimate move. Advertisement. After thinking for a moment. Cancel the big move, and instead condense the iron sand into a coin shape, focusing on his right thumb. God Railgun. God Super Electromagnetic Gun. The subtle holy light current carries the destructive power that can penetrate everything in the world. The space was also torn apart at this moment. Sage of Six Paths in the soul state turned his head and looked. In Rinnegan, that flash of lightning is close at hand. Penetrating the center of his eyebrows, the blood-red reincarnation Sharingan that can't be used without a physical body. The super electromagnetic gun almost slid over the side of the second pillar. Sage of Six Paths in the state of soul stared at Yèyuè Guāng in the distance, until Rinnegan lost focus and vitality in his eyes. Dull. Nine Tails, who held the body of the two pillars, had completely peeled off the armor on his body, and his red skin was scorched black by the falling thunder. Endless feelings of pain and exhaustion rushed to my heart, and fell to the ground with a snap. The hill-like body slowly turned back into a human form on the ground, lying side by side with Uchiha Sasuke, who was still falling asleep. Good for Zhao. In this scene, I just want to add the word, happy, on their heads. I said, the Otsutsuki group must kill everything that is not left. Yèyuè Guāng also landed from midair, returning from a demigod form on the way to its original state. Do you still live a false but happy life in the Tsukuyomi world? You are lucky, Nijuja. Yèyuè Guāng walked over to the two and sat down. He is also very tired. Not physically, but more spiritually. After all, it took less than 72 hours before and after that, and too many things happened. It made him big head, opened Urzuzi's eyelids and looked down. Very good, not blind. Eduo-sang. With the familiar and cute voice, Yèyuè Guāng let out a long sigh of relief, and could no longer bear the exhaustion from the brain. Falling into the soft 91E, fell into a sweet dream. Chapter 160. The Spectacles Attribute Can't Be Lost, second more seeking subscription. This guy Yuya actually kept such a hand, after knowing what happened in Konoha from White Zetsu. Black Zetsu can be said to let out a cold sweat. Of course he knows what chi technique is. Not to mention his method of resurrecting his mother Kagaya as chi technique. But what Black Zetsu didn't expect was that Otsutsuki Hagoromo also kept his hand before his death. And the parasites were his two sons, and no matter how Indra and Ashura are reincarnated, they can be parasitic. After learning about it, Shang Wei came to Black Zetsu, who was the creator of ninja history. Even if he didn't have sweat glands, he couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. The praying mantis is in front and the oriole is behind. That's what it means, right? I thought that I might be stabbed in the back by Sage of Six Paths at the most critical time of the plan. Black Zetsu couldn't help shaking, but no wonder, who would have thought that Tang Sage of Six Paths would actually use technique for his two sons? It can only be said that the world imagined the ancestor of the ninja sect to be too perfect. 703 who has no shortcomings. Yang Yuhan still has body odor. Hey, but the guy Yèyuè Guāng did a good job and killed the guy Yuya. Black Zetsu smiled triumphantly. It is now completely certain that Sage of Six Paths is dead. No one can hinder their plans anymore, if you let Yèyuè Guāng know what Black Zetsu thought. It definitely means that you are too early for a mother-loving. Of the Otsutsuki family, I won't let it go. Konoha Village. Get rid of the 9 tails controlled by Sage of 6 Paths, and the other 4 tail beasts released by Hinata from planetary devastation. The chatter is talking through the soul between the tail beasts. Master 6 Paths is really unacceptable for a while. 8 tails hummed. You said, what will happen if the old man is really resurrected? Advertisement Morizu turned over by Akugan and said. The ghost knows, anyway, I don't want to become the same virtue as before. It refers to 10 tails naturally, Basicity, second tail interface. In any case, his soul has completely returned to the Pure Land, so he can continue to live the same life as before, otherwise you still want to find revenge? 9 tails. Cut. Shuhei. Shout. The one with the most tail and the least one turned his head to the other side and made an awkward disdain. By the way, out of the 5 of us, only Kurama is left. You haven't talked with Jinchuriki. You can almost recognize the little guy named Naruto, right? Otherwise, it will be very hard in the future. 5 tails Kakuo said suddenly. Shut up, you don't have to worry about my business. 9 tails snorted coldly. After that, 9 tails took the lead to quit the group chat. Lying alone in the sealed space like a sewer, 9 tails was lost in thought. I have to say that it is really surprising that the yellow-haired boy can get rid of the shackles of the old man of 6 paths with his own will. Konoha Shinobi Hospital, in the ward of Uchiha Spring. Wearing newly matched glasses with a thick bottom of 1200 degrees, Uchiha Guāng stared at her in disbelief when Yèyuè Guāng heard Yèyuè Guāng's words. Light, Lord Everbright, what are you talking about? Yèyuè Guāng sitting at the end of the bed yawned and said. Isn't what I said clearly enough? Change your eyes. The second pillar pair has evolved into Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan after Tsunade's transformation. Tsunade, who was standing on the other side, mentioned the incident, and his face was astonished as it was only 25 or so. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I couldn't believe it. When Uchiha Sasuke's eyes were transplanted onto Uchiha Itachi's corpse, his Mangekyo would immediately evolve. Both vision and pupil power have evolved to a new level. Uchiha Izumi thinks of the description on the stone tablet in the underground chamber of Nanga Shrine, a way to open up eternal light. Suddenly, she thought of another possibility and asked. Master Tsunade, what will happen if the 2 brothers exchange Mangekyo? If you want to have eternal light, you must seize the eyes of your brother. This is really cruel, but Uchiha Izumi had a whim. What if you swap eyes? Advertisement Yèyuè Guāng said that you girl is really a clever ghost. But it's a pity that there are no such good things. This is also a surprising thing, Tsunade Kaido. After the evolution of Uchiha Sasuke's Mangekyo, Uchiha Itachi's eyes seemed to be affected by something, and lost all functions, in other words, he was blind. Uchiha Quan's eyes were wide. Is there such a thing? Yèyuè Guāng suddenly thought of the setting of Devil Fruit in the world of One Piece. Many people have thought about what would happen if Devil Fruit was divided. Will the eater be able to get abilities? However, reality gave them a big slap. The ability goes only to the person who took the first bite. Unexpectedly, the Eternal Mangekyo is the same, even if the 2 brothers have the meaning of swapping Mangekyo. But when the evolution of the first pair of Mangekyo was completed, the other pair was automatically discarded. Uchiha deserves to be a cursed race, so Everbright, Sasuke him. Uchiha Spring couldn't bear to say, I'm still having dreams in Tsukuyomi's world, and I don't need my eyes anyway, so it's better to donate it to those in need. Yèyuè Guāng squeezed the Chong-nose Dao of Uchiha Spring. Don't worry about it, I have transplanted another pair of Sharingan for him. Even if one day wakes up, it won't be lost. Eternal Mangekyo will use it for you. Uchiha Quan also knew that if he refused to resign, he would be too artificial. Nodding to express understanding. After you put on new eyes, you should wear the glasses, and change to a pair with no prescription. Yèyuè Guāng touched Uchiha Quan's glasses at the bottom of the bottle again. Huh? Why? Not only Uchiha Spring, but Tsunadeheim behind is also incomprehensible. It's nothing, isn't the attribute of the glasses girl very cute? Lost and wasted. Yèyuè Guāng seems to make sense, but it is actually illogical. Uchiha Spring. Tsunade scolded in contempt in his heart. Dai Salong, compare with Jiraiya. Chapter 161 The Widowed Naruto, 3rd more seeking subscription. A few hours later, Uchiha Izumi, whose eyes were bandaged, walked out of the operating room with the help of Tsunade's disciple and attendant Shizune. Seeing her in such a state, Hinata and Hanabi, who are also members of the listening corner combination with Uchiha Quan, hurried up to greet her and switched to the left and right sides of Uchiha Quan. Yèyuè Guāng touched his chin, thinking that Uchiha Madara had 5 eyes in the original work. Why do you still have surgery? How do you feel? Yèyuè Guāng asked. I can feel the continuous pupil power of this pair of eyes. It's really amazing. I never thought that the gap between Mangekyo and Eternal Mangekyo could be so big. Uchiha Quan's tone trembled when he said this. Obviously, he was shocked by the pupil power contained in these eyes. During this time, you lived with Hinata and the others so you can take care of them. Said to live with Hinata, but in fact that area is Yèyuè Guāng's site. It's just not living in the same house as before. To be honest, there's a little regret, listening to the corner is not as convenient as before. Yèyuè Guāng also thought about such a big place, Can he follow Sima Yan's example and come to a sheep cart to see his luck? Kiki, it's far away. Really do that kind of thing. Samui's group of women absolutely really want to divide themselves. The strongest Thor system. Open black lens bracket host. Yèyuè Guāng close black lens bracket. First template. Enel. Unlocking degree. 100%. Second template. Masaka Makoto absolute ability form. With a human body, reaching the realm of God. Unlocking rate. 94.8%. After fighting against the heavyweights of Akatsuki, Yèyuè Guāng also unlocked the Masaka Makoto template that had been with him for the longest time. Only the last step is left. It just so happened that Naruto and Haruno Sakura walked out of another ward along the corridor. Both eyes met. Naruto cried out in shock, Uncle Guāng, and Sister Quan. Yèyuè Guāng paid attention to the martial art in front of this ward. Urzuzi lives here. His pupils that merged with Uchiha Itachi's blood and evolved into Eternal Mangekyo have been replaced by Uchiha Spring. Advertisement, but Yèyuè Guāng is not cruel enough to make Uchiha Sasuke blind. The eyes of Uchiha Shisui, who were obtained from Shimura Danzo and Uchiha Itachi, were fixed on the second pillar. But to be honest, it doesn't make much sense. He has sunk in the illusory world of Tsukuyomi. Let alone pretend not to pretend to be eyes, it doesn't make sense to kill him even now. But Naruto is pitiful, which is equivalent to being a widow, right? Haruno Sakura was full of worry and said, Master, there is no way to cancel the illusion in Sasuke-kun? Tsukuyomi is a very advanced illusion, but it is not difficult to crack, and Hinata's Tensigen can do it. Yèyuè Guāng walked into the second pillar ward and looked at Uchiha Sasuke, who was lying on the hospital bed and leaning on the stomach tube to deliver liquid food to maintain his life. But, do you think he is willing to wake up? Yèyuè Guāng asked with his back to the other two people in Class 7. Naruto and Haruno Sakura couldn't help but bow their heads, silently. The Tsunade interface says, that kid's current situation is a bit awkward. He is a vegetative man, willing to indulge in a false world. To be honest, I can understand his feelings. If you change it to 20 years ago, you have lost your parents, younger brother, and lover one after another. When I am on the verge of collapse, if I have such a false and beautiful world in front of me, I will accept it without hesitation, right? While Ming, 54-year-old girl actually has this kind of thought. I have changed my view of you, Princess Tsunade. Yèyuè Guāng squinted with emotion. Yèyuè Guāng, do you want to die? Tsunade growled as a female Tyrannosaurus. Yèyuè Guāng shrugged and motioned Tsunade to calm down. Then he raised his head at Uchiha Sasuke, who was lying on the hospital bed, and asked. Speaking of which, he can only maintain his life in that state now. Tsunade managed to suppress the fire and didn't have a good air. I said, although he was illusionary, he did not die. He is in a state similar to a vegetable. He eats through the stomach tube once every 2 to 3 hours. Both eating and excretion need to be taken care of. Yèyuè Guāng. Just forget to eat, do you need excretion? Yèyuè Guāng did not stop looking at Naruto and Haruno Sakura with complicated eyes, so, are you two taking care of it now? The two of them turned their heads to the other side involuntarily. -0 seeking flowers. Advertisement. Although he did not speak, the answer is clear. Well, it's okay if you are willing. Yèyuè Guāng wouldn't be so cruel to say, instead of this, you might as well give him a happy one. He can't do things like pooping and peeing, but he won't be nosy when others are willing. Edo sang, I heard from Shikamaru that Akatsuki is planning a plan to make people all over the world fall into an eternal illusion. Hinata thought of something and asked next to Yèyuè Guāng. Oh, this matter, let's talk about it at home. Half an hour later, the former Sarutobi tribe land is now the residential area where Cloud Shinobi Ninja lives. In front of the largest luxurious mansion. Point 0. Husband, I want to kill you, huh, huh. As soon as he stepped into the courtyard gate, a slender shadow quickly entered everyone's eyes, jumped up from a long distance, and plunged into Yèyuè Guāng's arms. If it hadn't been for Yèyuè Guāng to open his arms in advance, I'm afraid it wasn't for Hinata and the others. Did you miss me? Terumi Mei held Yèyuè Guāng's cheeks and gave several lipsticks to both sides and said coquettishly. Master Mizukage, can you pay attention to the influence? Hanabi Nuzu said, but this is just a complaint, she is tired of reading it, okay. Hanabi, you are still young, don't understand, Terumi Mei said with a smile. I don't understand, you don't know how many times these 3 little girls watched the live broadcast. You, Terumi Mei, don't have hemorrhoids on her body, they all know all about it. Quan, what's wrong with your eyes? Noting the thick bandages on Uchiha Azumi's eyes, Terumi Mei's expression changed in shock, and she held her hand to ask questions. This is a long story. Uchiha Azumi's smile was a little complicated. The revenge succeeded, but for the road ahead, still a little confused. Samui, Yekang and other women are not as open as Terumi Mei. At least when there is a third person present, they dare not do this. After hearing about the tail monster riot in Konoha, Terumi Mei and Hakura came from San Shinobi and Mist Shinobi for the first time. Finding that Gaara and the others had returned to normal, they finally felt relieved, again. Chapter 162. There will always be a 20-year-old, fourth more seeking subscription. Yèyuè Guāng sat cross-legged on the tatami in the living room with everyone, and cut a large piece of cake for today's birthday star Uchiha Spring. Yes, today is Uchiha Quan's birthday, if it's Sam Yi's birthday. Yekura, Terumi Mei and others will never participate. Because every woman's birthday is their wedding anniversary with Yèyuè Guāng, how can it be possible to allow other women to intervene in the rare two-person world between them? Seeing the 21 candles on Uchiha Spring's birthday cake, Terumi Mei said with emotion. Quan is also over 20 years old. As long as you are over 20 years old, every time the number on the birthday cake rises, it makes you itchy. Uchiha smiled back with his eyes still wrapped in bandages. But for myself who should have died on the night of 13 years old. It is quite a happy thing to be able to live till now. Hinata and Hanabi didn't feel much about 707. They are not over 20 anyway. What wish did Sister Quan just make? What was the first wish after successful revenge? Hanabi asked, swaying Uchiha Quan's arm curiously. Well, it won't work if I say it, I won't tell you. Uchiha Quan first hesitated for half a second, then raised the tip of his jade finger and flicked it between Hanabi's eyebrows. Why is this? Hyuga Hanabi pouted his mouth and covered his bounced forehead. But Yi Kang, Terumi Mei and other women are keenly aware. When Uchiha Izumi said this, his bandaged eyes shifted towards Yèyuè Guāng next to him subconsciously. My heart suddenly scolded. No woman can be 20 years old forever, but there will always be a 20-year-old woman. Looking at Uchiha Izumi's explosive figure, although there is no Samui, Terumi Mei. But he is slim and tall, with a small waist without a trace of fat, plus the same as Hinata. A small face full of collagen because of youth. Terumi Mei and Yi Kang, who are over 30 years old, suddenly felt crisis. You change seats with me, Sam Yi said with a cold face. Huh? Why? Yèyuè Guāng expressed puzzlement. Sam Yi didn't answer, but kept staring at Yèyuè Guāng with icy eyes. Forcing him to give up the position on the left-hand side of Uchiha Spring. Advertisement Mount Myoboku. Many years in the future, Jiraiya took the initiative to visit here this time. The main reason is to beg Toad Sage to allow his disciple Uzumaki Naruto come to Mount Myoboku for spiritual practice. Ever since Uchiha Sasuke fell into Tsukuyomi's sleep, Uzumaki Naruto has been depressed. For Naruto's widowhood, Jiraiya couldn't stand it anymore. There are currently 5 Jinchuriki in Konoha, and all 4 except Naruto have learned to control the tail beast. And the strength reaches cage level. Only Naruto was still stuck in the quasi-photo position. In your body is the strongest 9 tails of the 9 big-tailed beasts. However, Jiraiya's purpose in bringing Naruto to Mount Myoboku is not just to make Naruto's strength break through. There are also attempts to distract Naruto through practice so that he will not be stuck in the Uchiha Sasuke incident. Big Toad Sage, my disciple who owned Rinnegan, passed away. Facing the ruler of Mount Myoboku who was sitting on the celestial stone and whose volume was more than 3 points larger than that of Toad text, Jiraiya said with a sad expression on his face. Apparently, he had already seen Nagato's body. When I saw the skinny body with only a layer of skin, the eyes were still bloodied. The grief in Jiraiya's heart is naturally unnecessary to say. It's a pity that you used to be the child of the prophecy. Great Toad Sage. Toadpill said in a deep voice. But what I haven't even seen is that even the feather clothes are covered. Jiraiya looked solemn and said in disbelief. Could it be that the person Yèyuè Guāng defeated 2 days ago is really the legendary sage of 6 paths? About the previous 5-tailed beasts run away inexplicably. The host behind the scenes was killed by Yèyuè Guāng, and the other 4-tailed beasts except 9 tails were suppressed by 5th Hokage Yèyuè Hinata. In the ninja world, there is a lot of rumors. When I returned to Jiraiya behind Konoha, I heard Tsunade talk about Sage of 6 Paths, the main messenger behind the scenes. The whole person was dumbfounded. Sage of 6 Paths? Is it the Sage of 6 Paths from the ancestor of the ninja? At the time, Jiraiya thought that Tsunade was joking with himself, and the person who had been dead for thousands of years suddenly came back to life. Is such a thing possible? The wrinkles on the Toadpill's face were twisted into a ball. To be honest, as he had fought side by side with the brothers Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura thousands of years ago, he did not expect this to happen. Yui's soul will be beaten into the Pure Land by characters outside of fate. Advertisement rumble suddenly. Jiraiya only felt the ground shaking violently under his feet. No, not only the ground is shaking, but the entire Mount Myoboku is shaking. What's the situation? Jiraiya cried out in surprise. Guarding at the door, Tojien, who was summoned by Naruto during the Chunin exam to deal with Shuhei, shouted. It seems that 2 humans broke in. Humanity? Jiraiya's eyes widened in astonishment. It is said to be a white-haired man and a girl with Byakugan eyes. The specific names are not yet known. Sorry, I am too clumsy. Tojien responded. Hearing Tojien's narration, Jiraiya suddenly gave birth to a father-daughter combination in Jiraiya's mind. My god! What are they doing here, and how did they get in? Jiraiya ignored the communication with Toadmaru, and ran out without saying a word. As soon as Jiraiya stepped out of the gate of the Toad Temple where the great Toad Sage lived, he saw a behemoth falling toward him like a meteorite above the sky. That is Wen Tai. Jiraiya didn't have time to think, and quickly dodged sideways with body flicker technique. Boom, puff. The Toad script fell too hard on the gate of the Toad Temple, smashing the entire wall to pieces. Why does Wen Tai fall from the sky? Jiraiya, who successfully dodged, was astonished and turned to look in the direction where Wen Taifei came from. Hinata, who happened to be standing in front of Yèyuè 2.3 light, opened his palm. Well, he knows the reason. It's them who did it first. Yèyuè Guāng said without apology. You guy, we are just going to ask you why you came to Mount Myoboku. You are the first to do it, right? After being beaten by Shenluo Tianzheng, the Toadman who did not know how many bones had broken was too reluctant to get up and roared furiously. When you see an ugly toad rushing towards you, do you think that the other person will talk to you peacefully? Yèyuè Guāng asked rhetorically. Okay, you all calm down. Jiraiya had to rush to act as a peacemaker between the two sides. After Toad Wentai's anger was relieved in front of him, Jiraiya turned his head and asked Yèyuè Guāng. What are you doing here? How did you come here? Chapter 163 Hidden Corpses for Thousands of Years, The Treasure of Mount Myoboku, 5th More Seeking Subscription. Hear Jiraiya's question. Yèyuè Guāng took out a dilapidated notebook from Kabuto, the clothes before Yu Shang, and threw it to Jiraiya. Jiraiya stretched out his hand and borrowed it, looking at this rotten memo that almost didn't have a full page, and couldn't help but wonder how old is this book. After turning several pages, Jiraiya asked with a headache. Hey, what is written on this? I can't understand a word. Hinata actively explained. That is a special text of the Otsutsuki family. You need to use Byakugan for the first half and Tensigan for the second half to read. Otsutsuki. Jiraiya suddenly recalled, isn't Sage of Six Paths' real name, Otsutsuki Hagoromo? That was something I got from the moon 3 years ago. Recently, Hinata used Tensigan to interpret it successfully. Yèyuè Guāng chuckled softly. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's old Yin-Bai device technique parasitizes on his two sons, and the way to use Tensagen's ability to open the space-time passage to Mount Myoboku, Otsutsuki Hamura, is written on it. Otsutsuki U-10 Village? The younger brother of Sage of Six Paths? Jiraiya said that there was too much information on the topic, and his brain couldn't turn around for a while. Can only speed up and fast forward to the topic and asked. Then what are you two doing here? Jiraiya asked the most critical question. The world only knows that the two brothers who sealed Kagaya-ji are Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura. According to this Hamura handwriting, the actual situation is not like this. Yèyuè Guāng had a faint smile on his face and continued. The master of Mount Myoboku, Toadmaru, actually played no less role in the past than the Otsutsuki brothers. He knew that only Otsutsuki Hagoromo used the technique to parasitize his two sons before his death, and he also knew that Hamura led his own family. He moved to the moon and was responsible for guarding the Geto statue. Realizing that Yèyuè Guāng's tone became more and more dangerous, before he knew it, the cold sweat was already full of cold sweat. Finally, Yèyuè Guāng smiled and asked, the last page of Himura's notes, do you know what it says, Jiraiya? What? Jiraiya swallowed. Otsutsuki Hagoromo used technique to parasitize the last chakra on his two sons before he died. Where is his body? Yèyuè Guāng's smile remained unchanged, but Jiraiya was scared to death. Advertisement, difficult, can't say 1/1-inch. Jiraiya couldn't believe it and turned to look inside the Toad Temple. Yes, it is kept by the Toad Pill that fought with him back then. Yèyuè Guāng led Hinata, passed by Jiraiya's shoulder, strode into the main hall of the Toad Temple, and said. At the same time, Mount Myoboku also hides a treasure, which can make the eternal Mangekyo evolve again. Faced with the big Toad Sage Toad Pill that has survived from the era of Sage of Six Paths to the present, Yèyuè Guāng's heavy smile completely disappeared and turned into an endless chill. Also, although the soul of the old fox Otsutsuki Hagoromo was rolled into another world, if his body is still there, he can be summoned by the reincarnation technique at any time. If you say that his body is not destroyed, how can I be relieved? Looking dangerously at Toad Sage. It is said that the Toad has always claimed to be a fairy. Person, is outrageous, and you are not a person. Jiraiya, who followed, was completely stunned. Yèyuè Guāng's words have completely subverted his worldview. He did hear that Toad Sage and Sage of Six Paths were old friends. But I never thought that the remains of Sage of Six Paths are all here in Toad Sage. Anyone who knows the principle of the reincarnation technique understands that as long as the remains are kept, can summon the soul of the dead from the Pure Land. Among them, Impure World reincarnation is the best example. No wonder Toad Sage was so calm after knowing that the soul of Sage of Six Paths was wiped out by Yèyuè Guāng. Because the body is in his hands, he can summon it back with a spell at any time. And now, Jiraiya also fully understood Yèyuè Guāng's plan. He wants to guard against it. In order to prevent the great Toad Sage from using the reincarnation technique, he summoned the Sage of Six Paths that had just been beaten into the Pure Land world. He needs to completely destroy the remains of Sage of Six Paths. Before Hamura died, did he record such a thing? Toadmaru's eyes, which had been in a virtual state for thousands of years, finally opened. Even if they did not deliberately exuded the killing intent, those eyes still created an indescribable deterrent for Jiraiya and other toads on the scene. Don't say that Guang Yuya's soul forcibly broke into the Pure Land, but now he will also be destroyed along with his physical body? Don't you think you are too much? Toadpill frowned tightly, as if to persuade Yèyuè Guāng with moral accusations. Ha. So you, like the old Sarutobi Hiruzen, like to engage in moral kidnapping. Yèyuè Guāng was full of disdain. I still said that, the dead should stop being obsessed with the real world. Advertisement, If Kaguya is resurrected, you must rely on Yuyu's power. I can't give him to you. Toad Pill's tone didn't seem to have any room for discussion. I just want to keep a whole card for myself, and I can draw so many high-sounding excuses. Have you lived for too long and forgot who you are? Yèyuè Guāng is full of mockery, not to mention whether Kaguya-ji can be resurrected. Even if she is resurrected, there will be a living person who will solve it. Do you need to find Otsutsuki Hagoromo, the dead person, to stir up the matter again? I'll say it one last time, give me the body. When he said this, Yèyuè Guāng's eyes were already fierce. Right now his relationship with Otsutsuki Hagoromo is endless. Yèyuè Guāng will never allow 707 Sage of Six Paths to be resurrected. Big Toad Sage, I don't understand what you did thousands of years ago, but Yèyuè Guāng has a sentence I think is correct. Suddenly, Jiraiya scratched his head and interjected. The dead should not interfere in the world of the living. After several minutes of silence, Toad Maru slowly said. Although I am old, I have not yet reached the point of being slaughtered. Boom, when the voice fell, a terrifying fairy chakra overflowed from the Toad Pill. As an existence that was on par with Sage of Six Paths. Even after thousands of years, the strength is no longer as good as the peak period. But throwing has the power to make the world fearful. A good word to persuade, you have to fight to be honest, right? Yèyuè Guāng looked at the Toad Pill that was obviously ready to do it, and Yèyuè Guāng's eyes were even more cold. Otsutsuki is not a good thing, and the guy who has something to do with Otsutsuki is also not a fuel-efficient lamp. Originally handing over the corpse obediently, the matter could be finished peacefully. Must speak with fists, but do you think I really only brought one Hinata? The moment Yèyuè Guāng's voice fell, the pupil power exploded in Hinata Tenseigen. Between the two sides, a translucent blue space was opened. That is the passage of time and space. Chapter 164 Battle of Natural Enemies, Toad and Snake, 6th more seeking subscription. This is from Hamura. Seeing the pupil released from Hinata's Tenseigen turned into a translucent space-time channel. The Toad Pill showed a shocking color that had not been seen in 1,000 years. Of course he knew what it was. Back then, Otsutsuki Hamura used Tenseigen's ability to create a space-time channel between the moon and the earth. 3 years ago, Yèyuè Guāng and Hinata walked that way to the moon. So now, where does Hinata's channel made by Tenseigen lead? Just when everyone at the scene except Yèyuè Guāng and Hinata and Toad were puzzled. Suddenly, a white python rushed out of the passage of time and space. Blinking is like a rope, tightly binding the Toad Pill on the platform. That is, a giant white snake with a pipe in its mouth. Snake. Jiraiya was shocked at the same time, feeling a bitter cold, and he instantly thought of a former old friend. However, it is often said that Cao Cao arrived. This commission is very interesting, Yèyuè-kun. After a long time, Orochimaru, who looked younger and more neutral, also walked out of the passage of time and space. After seeing Jiraiya, Yin smiled and said hello. Alala, isn't this Jiraiya? Why are you present every time I do serious business? Is this what I want to ask you? Jiraiya shouted angrily. Why are you here? What is the situation? Without waiting for Orochimaru to answer, in the passage of time and space, endless maniacs gush out from it. Among them, there are many giant pythons that are comparable in size to the Toad Wentai and the Toads. The most conspicuous among them is Orochimaru's signature summoning Beastman Snake. Is this the nest of those stinky toads? Haha, this time lousy can be enjoyable, but even so, I still have to prepare at least 100 living people as sacrifices afterwards. Wan Shi's character is as rampant as ever, then do you want to try the snake soup? Yèyuè Guāng at the bottom asked with a smile, advertisement. The moment he saw Yèyuè Guāng, Wan Snake, who was a cold-blooded animal, had a cold sweat on his face. After retreating, he found his old rival Toad Wenta again. Wan Shi. Ugly Toad, are you still alive? Toad Wentai. You are not dead, how could I die? Today, I must make you my snakeskin wallet. As long as you look closely, you can find countless traces of thunder and lightning on the surface of Wan Snake's skin. Combining with Wan Snake's counsel just now, the ghost can guess what's going on. Ryuchi Cave. Jiraiya suddenly reacted, staring dumbly at the space-time passage created by Hinata. That passage is connected to Ryuchi Cave. Mount Myoboku, Ryuchi Cave, Wet Bone Forest. It represents the legendary Sannin training ground. At the same time, it is also called the Three Holy Lands by the Ninja World. Among them, the Wet Bone Forest is the most low-key among the three holy places, compared with the Buddhist system. Mount Myoboku and Ryuchi Cave have always been tit for tat. Orochimaru smiled evilly. You guessed it, it seems that you don't have Alzheimer's like Mr. Sarutobi. Orochimaru went on to explain. A few days ago, Yèyuè-kun approached me to discuss this matter. I heard that there was a chance to retaliate against Mount Myoboku. The White Snake Immortal agreed very simply. Jiraiya was shocked and turned to look at the platform of the Toad Temple. The big white snake that always entangles Toad Sage, like Sarutobi Hiruzen, always dangles in smoke. It is the legendary White Snake Fairy. It's really unexpected that you will help humans. Toad Sage used his hands to hold the 7 inches of the White Snake Immortal, making it difficult for the opponent to strangle himself to death. The White Snake Fairy spit out the letter and said with a voice like an old woman. Back then, you old guy deliberately approached Yuya's boy and gained the power of 6 paths. For thousands of years, Mount Myoboku has suppressed Ryuchi Cave, and finally let my old lady catch the opportunity. How can you let it go? Water-style iron cannonball. Toad Sage struggled to make seals, and the water iron cannon spit out from his mouth concentrated around his white snake immortal at almost zero distance. But the shock wave caused by the explosion of the water iron cannon hit both sides. It will cause 1000 damage to the enemy and 800 self-defeating consequences. Kill this group of toads. The white snake immortal who was hit by the iron cannonball on the rear wall shook his head and hissed and ordered. Advertisement. The so-called its most powerful confidants, Tien Shin Shenji, Ichikashima Haim, and Tanjin Ji rushed up. And Shen Zuo, Shima and other toads. He also rushed to the front of Toad Sage. A fierce battle between Snake and Toad officially broke out. In terms of strength, Toad Sage, who had a deep relationship with the Otsutsuki brothers, the ancestor of ninja, is definitely better. However, the gap between the two sides is not enough to reach the level of crushing. The sudden attack at Ryuchi Cave caused the toads in Mount Myoboku to be upset. Caught off guard, the main toads of Mount Myoboku were swallowed by snakes and green snakes. After all, according to the laws of nature, snakes restrain toads. In any case, Mount Myoboku is the second hometown of Jiraiya. Seeing such a situation, Jiraiya is naturally standing on Mount Myoboku's side, helping to withstand the attack of the Ryuchi Cave group of snakes. But don't forget, Orochimaru is not a vegetarian either. What's more, he was not sealed up with a ghoul by Sarutobi Hiruzen to take his hands. And after transplanting the cells of Otsutsuki Sharon, I used ninjutsu to pervert more. Hey, do you have to use this method? In the gap between the battle with Orochimaru, Jiraiya turned and shouted at Yèyuè Guāng. You just, Zhao, saw that. I originally planned to solve it by peaceful means, because this toad doesn't know what's good or bad. Yèyuè Guāng spread his hands, showing that I was the victim. Jiraiya thought for a while and thought it was really like this. But anyway, there is no need to do it like this, right? Well, where are the old fox's corpses and the fairy talisman stored? Ignore the numerous fights between toads and snakes around. Yèyuè Guāng turned his gaze around the toad temple, looking for the remains of the corpse of Sage of Six Paths. Hinata glanced around with Tensigan. Within a few seconds, Hinata pointed to a giant crystal ball the Toad Sage wore on the black hat that was placed behind the temple. This thing is the same style as the crystal ball used by Sarutobi Hiruzen for peeping? In Hinata's eyes, inside the crystal ball with a diameter of more than 10 meters, there was a corpse lying in it. Chapter 165 Pure Land Rebirth, First More Seeking Subscription. It's actually there, when Hinata said that the body of Sage of Six Paths was actually in the crystal ball of Toad Sage. Jiraiya's eyes almost stared out in fright. He has known Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku for nearly half a century. I have also witnessed the other party using the same style as Sarutobi Hiruzen many times, with the telescope technique that is stronger than the tens of thousands of generations in terms of visual distance and other aspects. But even if he wanted to break his head, he would never think of it. The body of Sage of Six Paths, the first ancestor of ninja, was actually hidden there. Yèyuè Guāng's fingertips are slightly tilted, the shining arc was fleeting. A tiny, almost invisible crack was left on the huge crystal ball. But in less than a second, the crack expanded rapidly until it continued to the entire sphere. Click. The crystal ball was completely divided into two starting from the crack in the center. In an instant, the vast chakra, full of vitality and destructive power, diffused out of the gap. Is there really a corpse in there? Such a huge chakra, I don't feel surprised to say that it is a living super cage level powerhouse inside. Orochimaru licked his mouth with a long tongue, only to feel that the scientist's blood in his body was boiling sharply. Worthy of being the ancestor of the ninja Sage of Six Paths. After the death of 707, the corpse contains such terrifying power, what kind of realm can it reach while alive? I really want to study it, but Orochimaru didn't dare to say this sentence. The attitude shown by Yèyuè Guāng today is already obvious. He absolutely wants to erase the soul and remains of Sage of Six Paths from this world. Who dares to stop? He will never let it go. After death, continue to transport chakra into the corpse to ensure his integrity. As long as you use impure world reincarnation, you can immediately be summoned from the underworld, but it is another matter to be able to exert some strength. Although it has been somewhat corrupted, from the outline of the facial features, one can still vaguely see the appearance of his life. I can't tell that this is a corpse that has been dead for thousands of years, but it looks like a corpse that has only been dead for a few months. The white snake fairy hissed. The B********* D thing. The old toad pill. There is still such a hole card. Hey, that kid, hurry up and destroy that thing. Thousands of years ago, the three holy sites were on the same level. And the old toad hooked up with the Sage of Six Paths brothers. Just keep pressing the other two. Those slugs in wet bone forest don't care. The white snake fairy can't swallow this breath. Advertisement. Who are you ordering? Caterpillar, do you want to die with him? Yèyuè Guāng replied indifferently. Some color with you, really petitioning you? Upon hearing this, the white snake fairy retracted his head aggrievely. Damn little devil, after all, the old man has lived for thousands of years, can't he understand etiquette? Yèyuè Guāng squinted his eyes, looked at the body of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and said coldly. Almost left a disaster, but it's good to be caught early. When the voice fell, Yèyuè Guāng raised his right hand slightly. The thunder wrapped by the holy light was wrapped around the entire arm, and the stroke of the arc carried a destructive force that seemed to shred the space. You damned man, thousands of years ago, don't want to make trouble in my time. With the wave of his hand, the shining electric arc rushed out like a flying dragon, and the corpse that was about to be completely annihilated between heaven and earth snapped. There was a clap of applause. It was the big toad sage toad pill. The situation of the body that was about to be wiped out by thunder suddenly changed. The corpse, which was lying flat, suddenly rose with a dazzling light. Impure world reincarnation? Orochimaru glared at him and guessed. But immediately, Orochimaru overturned this idea. Although the corpse of the deceased is a must, impure world reincarnation also needs another sacrifice, that is, the body of a living person. And the higher the integration between the sacrifice of the living and the soul of the deceased, the more capable of exerting the strength of the deceased. Without living sacrifices, it is impossible for Toad Sage to use impure world reincarnation. Does the Pure Land summon? Yèyuè Guāng raised his eyebrows. Pay more attention to Otsutsuki Hagoromo's move to summon the shadows of the past from the Pure Land, Basidi. I didn't expect Toadpill can also use this trick. In the original book, Otsutsuki Hagoromo used this technique to just summon the shadows of the past to show their faces. I don't know what other effects are, but now it seems that there are other effects. Ninfa Pure Land Reincarnation. At this time, Orochimaru was spit out from the mouth of the great Toad Sage, even Yèyuè Guāng, a reincarnation technique that the traveler had never heard of. Pure Land Rebirth? What kind of reincarnation is that? How is it different from Senju Tobirama's Impure World Reincarnation and Orochimaru's reincarnation? Advertisement. At the expense of the life of the caster, the soul of the deceased is pulled back from the underworld to the corpse of the taboo technique. As Toad Sage spoke, his old face instantly became more vicissitudes of life. In the next instant, a ray of light suddenly appeared, and it was the soul of Otsutsuki Hagoromo who was only shot into the underworld by Yèyuè Guāng not long ago. Yèyuè Guāng's eyes changed suddenly. Isn't this the birth of revolving heaven without Rinnegan's wheel? They are all resurrection techniques at the cost of sacrificing the life of the caster. It just replaces the necessary condition of Rinnegan holder with keep the body of the deceased. Seeing that the soul of Sage of Six Paths was about to return to the half-corrupted corpse. Are you annoying? You don't want to say it straight, and still make up so many disgusting reasons? Yèyuè Guāng said that I am so annoying, and the Otsutsuki family always has such annoying strange things. Flashing to the mid-air corpse, Yèyuè Guāng raised his hand to destroy the corpse. Use the body to resurrect, right? Lousy, cut off your head to see if you can resurrect. A delusion. And now Otsutsuki Hagoromo's soul has been submerged in half of his body, and the Six Paths Tinrod is condensed with yin and yang. Can resist Yèyuè Guāng's divine thunder for a while. Taste. Even if the Six Paths Tinrod was breaking down at a speed visible to the naked eye. But still can buy time for the complete resurrection of Sage of Six Paths. Is it broken? Sure enough, I can't use all my strength in my lifetime, but it's enough. The corrupted face frowned, as if a zombie was talking. Immediately, Otsutsuki Hagoromo raised his eyes to look at Yèyuè Guāng. His expression was exactly the same as Sarutobi Hiruzen. This ninja world was created by the old man. In order to protect this world, the old man must not leave. FK off, aren't you afraid of death? Whatever you say, you have stopped at EH. The last word has yet to be spoken. The look of Sage of Six Paths in the form of a mummy changed suddenly. Look down. Below, in front of the big Toad Sage, a huge blood hole broke. Crimson blood constantly spilled out of the wound. The big Toad Sage stared back and looked back. It happened to match Hinata's gorgeous pair of tensigen. What you hit by holding up your palms is exactly the Otsutsuki Gentle Fist method's sacred airstrike. Chapter 166 is the official Yèyuè the one who suffers, second more seeking subscription. Hinata calmly retracted the gentle fist posture of the god airstrike. Her daily life is extremely soft and cute. At this time, she showed calmness, even coldness. Such a huge contrast made Jiraiya and even Orochimaru shudder. It's so cruel, there is no meaning of softness. Obviously, they still don't know enough about Hinata. The daily Hinata is indeed very soft and cute, but when it comes to Yèyuè Guāng, or Yèyuè Guāng's order, she will not hesitate when she starts. Once the treatment process is interrupted, it cannot be resurrected. This is the same as the revolving heaven health technique. Just when Sage of Six Paths was dumbfounded, Yèyuè Guāng doctor's sarcasm suddenly sounded in his ears. I repeat, now, this world is mine. This is my age, my world. People who are already dead, don't bother me. Sage of Six Paths twisted his neck and looked at each other unwillingly with a mummy face. However, he didn't wait for him to see each other clearly. I only felt a sharp pain in my neck. Snapped, accompanied by a crisp sound, in the eyes of third parties such as Jiraiya. Only Yèyuè Guāng's left hand shining with electric light waved. The head of Sage of Six Paths drew an arc in the air. With a bang, he fell to the ground severely. The left hand that unscrewed Sage of Six Paths' head was screwed on his broken neck. The thunder light instantly covered the entire corpse, and it was cleaner than the dust to completely destroy the moldy corpse that had existed for thousands of years. Hinata, who gave the big toad sage a palm, looked down at the head that rolled to his feet. After blinking his eyes twice, the outline of a huge palm print vaguely emerged from the periphery of the left palm that was waved. At the moment of falling, accompanied by harsh buzzing and violent shockwaves. Blow that head like a balloon. Very good. Yèyuè Guāng fell from the stands, patted the dust that did not exist on his hands, and nodded in satisfaction. Now I'm sure he can't be resurrected. Eduo-sang, I have remembered the method of reincarnation of Pure Land. Hinata spoke amazingly, stunned everyone present, as well as toads and snakes. Remember what that stuff does? I don't have anyone who wants to be resurrected. Yèyuè Guāng gently tapped on Hinata's head and said, as long as it is my people, I can't let them die. Advertisement. Hinata nodded with admiration in her eyes. Puff. Toad Sage collapsed unintentionally. The whole area of the ground was stained with blood from the wound in front of Yu Shang. Big Toad Sage. Although this mattered, Jiraiya also felt that Yèyuè Guāng was right. It was really wrong for the dead to interfere in this world repeatedly. But after Sarutobi Hiruzen, the second existence that resembles his own teacher, left before his eyes. Of course he couldn't feel good in his heart. Mount Myoboku is over too. Seeing this scene, the White Snake Immortal was also satisfied, and the villain smiled grimly. In the future, our Ryuchi Cave will be the first holy place, and we will cooperate happily and happily. I wanted to get rid of the old fox, Otsutsuki Hagoromo, so that you can participate in this project. Yèyuè Guāng emptied his eyes, and the fierce light splashed in and said, I am giving you the opportunity, but I am not cooperating with you. You better understand this. Ming, understand, Ming. The White Snake Fairy, as well as the other snakes of Ryuchi Cave, nodded their heads, not daring to refute the slightest thoughts. The next day, the news of the death of Sage of Six Paths, the ancestor of ninja, once again resounded throughout the ninja world. As soon as the news came out, let alone the shinobi world, the 1,000-year-old Yin was stupid than Black Zetsu. What the hell? Hasn't that guy Yui been killed before? Why was it killed twice in a row in less than a month? After several days, White Zetsu finally heard the news from Ryuchi Cave. It was Toad Sage who tried to resurrect Sage of Six Paths with Pure Land, but was stopped by Yèyuè Guāng. At the same time, the battle also broke out between Mount Myoboku and Ryuchi Cave, a toad and snake battle. In the end, Ryuchi Cave's all-out victory ended. As the victor, Ryuchi Cave also expressed his willingness to assist Yèyuè Guāng in any aspect in the future. In this battle, the intangible remains of Sage of Six Paths were completely destroyed. In this way, Otsutsuki Hagoromo will never be resurrected. Pure Land reincarnation? Howie and Toad Maru actually have a second hand? Black Zetsu said that if he hadn't had that stuff, he would have been scared to pee now. I thought it was Otsutsuki Hagoromo's only trump card to put the chakra atmosphere into a yin and a yang, and to use technique to lodge in his two sons. Unexpectedly, he actually left a second hand, -0 seeking flowers. Advertisement allows people who are not owners of Rinnegan to use the resurrection technique. Pure Land reincarnation, this trick Black Zetsu, a 1,000-year-old bachelor doesn't know. Black Zetsu can guess the abacus of Toad Maru and Hagoi. First use the Pure Land to reincarnate and resurrect Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Of course, because the corpse has decayed, it is of course impossible to achieve the effect of the revolving heaven technique. However, after the resurrection, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was completely returned to the peak period with Mount Myoboku's talisman of the treasure immortal. This completes the perfect resurrection of Sage of Six Paths. It's so scheming, Yui. Black Zetsu, who knew his big brother, Abacus, couldn't help trembling just thinking of this. But fortunately, Yèyuè Guāng has already taken care of him. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu felt that he could do it again. The final winner must be himself and his mother. HMPH, you can fight with snipes and clams. In the end, this world will only belong to the mother. Black Zetsu smiled again and again. But Black Zetsu is obviously too small to look down on the night and moonlight. Is his official Yèyuè the first to lose? Master Everbright, I think there is something on my forehead, which is very uncomfortable. Uchiha Quan, who was about to untie the bandage, felt very uncomfortable. He only felt that Yèyuè Guāng had put something on his forehead. And in the eyes of people around Hinata, Hanabi, Sammy and others. Yèyuè Guāng stuck a character with the word, Shion, on Uchiha Quan's forehead. Light, what is this? Terumi Mei bowed her waist and asked. No matter what, because of her actions, there were already a lot of scenery before Yu Hong. There is no one else here anyway. The treasure of Mount Myoboku can pull people with only a breath from the front of the gate. Yèyuè Guāng explained. In the war thousands of years ago, this thing rescued Otsutsuki Hamura. Originally because of that use, the effect was no longer valid, but then Sage of Six Paths injected its own chakra into it to restore its effectiveness. Has been hidden in the depths of Mount Myoboku. However, Quan was not injured either. What did you want to do with this? Yi Kang frowned and asked puzzledly. In this thing is the old fox's chakra. Yèyuè Guāng smirked and said, when his chakra merges with the eyes of his son's reincarnation, do you know what will happen? Again. Chapter 167 Akatsuki in the dim, unknown cave. Geto statue still opened his hands with a ferocious expression. But now, he has 5 people at his fingertips, absolutely. Hoshigaki Kisame, Hidan, Kakuzu, Sasori of the Red Sand. Unconsciously, Akatsuki's members have become so few. In the state of the slide body technique, Hoshigaki Kisame turned to look at the other 4 people present, and said inexplicably. It is said that Rain Shinobi Village was raided by Yèyuè Guāng, is our boss okay? Kakuzu. Whatever, don't delay making money anyway. Sasori of the Red Sand. Does the Tail Beast project continue? I think the success rate is very low. Okay, stop arguing, Black Zetsu said hoarsely. The new boss is here. New boss? I heard these 3 words in Black Zetsu's mouth. Except for 710, Hoshigaki Kisame, a member who already knew about the Infinite Tsukuyomi project, the other 3 showed a look of astonishment. On the central theme, another figure appeared, Hooligan. When you see the comer, Sasori, Kakuzu and others subconsciously called. Putting on a new mask, more than just revealing a right eye. The 2 eye holes on the mask reveal Sharingan and Rinnegan, respectively. Sasori, Kakuzu, and Hidan of the Red Sand were dumbfounded. Why does Pain's Rinnegan appear in Alfie's eyes? My name, Uchiha Madara. Run 2 activated his big flicker technique once again. After half an hour, after explaining his Moon Eye plan to the rest of Akatsuki's team, Uchiha Obito, who was officially offline, covered his newly transplanted Rinnegan's left eye. It is indeed possible to use Rinnegan's power, but because only one eye was transplanted. It is not comparable to Nagato, but it is still possible to summon the Gedo statue or become the Jinchuriki of 10 tails. Are you planning to start the final war? Black and White Chuangju penetrated through the wall behind and asked Uchiha Obito, who was facing away from him. Yèyuè Guāng gathered all 5 tail beasts together. The previous method is no longer feasible. Uchiha Obito put his hand away from his eyes and said coldly. Advertisement. In that case, launch the 4th Ninja World War in one go. Catch the remaining tail beasts on the battlefield. With Akatsuki's combat power, do you think you can defeat Yèyuè Guāng, who is a master of his team? What's more, the girl 5th Hokage has eyes of the same level as Rinnegan. When mentioning this, Black Zetsu, a 1,000-year-old bachelor, couldn't help showing a bit of jealousy on his face. He really couldn't figure it out. Why is it that once I have something to do with Yèyuè Guāng, I always exceed my expectations? Even Tensigan from Hamura popped out. I now have Rinnegan's power, coupled with Mangekyo's pupil power, there is no possibility of losing. The self-belief of Uchiha Obito, Black Zetsu almost didn't smile. Just rely on you, land. Are you addicted to pretending to be a big boss? Do you really think you are Uchiha Madara? Just transplanted a Rinnegan. Rinnegan's pupil power may not be as good as Nagato. Still want to fight Yèyuè Guāng? You are afraid that you can't even beat Yèyuè Hinata. Of course, after all, Uchiha Obito still has great use value. You still have to save some face for the other party. Black Zetsu suppressed his inner contempt and smiled sinisterly. Don't worry, I have already taken care of the trivial matter of insufficient combat power. Uchiha Obito's brows furrowed behind the mask, instinctively with an ominous premonition. Immediately afterwards, I saw a shot of both hands in black and white. Huh. In an instant, countless coffins suddenly rose from the surrounding land. This is, Uchiha Obito's expression changed suddenly. How can he not recognize what this is? Slap, slap, slap. The next second the coffin broke through. The coffin plates covering the upper part fell down in full order. The dead Akatsuki members, Nagato, Uchiha Itachi, Deidara. The strong man who used to be the best in the ninja world. Konoha's Hitaki Tsukumo, Yuichi Maki, Sarutobi Shinosuke. Cloud Shinobi's Troy, Barubi advertisement missed Shinobi's 7 ninja swords. And past generations of movies, 2nd Hokage Senju Tobarama, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, 3rd Raikage, 2nd Tsuchikage no, 2nd Mizukage Ghost Lantern Magic Moon. The pupils under Uchiha Obito's mask rose slightly and said, You 2 guys, when is it? White Zetsu smiled hippily. Don't thank us too much, Obito, it was just done when you transplanted Rinnegan to recover from your injury. 0. Black Zetsu also said, There are so many strong people here, enough to make up for Yèyuè Guāng's combat power gap, but to deal with Yèyuè Guāng's unreasonable lightning style and 5th Hokage's Tensigan, another thing is needed. The voice fell, and the black and white Chuangju pressed his hand to the ground again. Summoning technique and pure world reincarnation, the 2 coffins suddenly rose again. If those people just surprised Uchiha Obito a bit, then the 2 coffins that have risen now make him stunned. He even began to gnash his teeth. You actually gave them both. White Zetsu laughed strangely. To deal with them, this level is of course necessary. Uchiha Obito had a sullen face. As early as when he decided to grab Nagato's Rinnegan, he had expected that the 2 guys who were Uchiha Madara's doglegs would not be honest. Although surprised, Uchiha Obito calmed down quickly. At this time, White Zetsu's expression changed slightly, and he spoke again. Just now my clone has sent back information. Yèyuè Guāng 2.3 summoned Wying to go to Konoha to discuss matters. Black Zetsu, have you started preparing over there too? The decisive battle was just around the corner, and Uchiha Obito didn't have any spare time to waste time with him. He strode out and said coldly. Get ready now, the 4th Ninja World War. Konoha, cemetery. One after another coffin was dug out. When the lid of the coffin was opened, it was found that even if the body was not stolen, at least one arm or leg was lost. This level of loss was enough to display the reincarnation of the filthy man. When Kakashi saw that the body of his father White Fang had been taken away, he collapsed to the ground in shock. But Yèyuè Guāng is more interested in another stolen body. Nohara Lin. Chapter 168 Tear the Strongest, 4th More Seeking Subscription. Just a few days. News of the stolen ancestral graves of the ancestors has been reported in the major ninja villages. Whether it is the 5 great ninja villages or the exhausted Takian, Tanjian and other small ninja villages are the same. To steal so many remains at once, Kabuto, the serpent in the original book, absolutely can't do it. In addition to having the ability to move automatically in the soil, and has a 100,000 clone of White Zetsu. No one can do this kind of thing. Not to mention that according to the information provided by Orochimaru, the fellow Yakushi Kabuto has been by his side. The guy White Zetsu clearly understands Runtu's weaknesses better than Kabuto. Yèyuè Guāng looked at Yi Yuanlin's empty body and couldn't help smiling. In the original book, Orochi Kabuto does not know the specific identity of the man who plays the card mask, so Lin, who is only capable of Chunin, is not included in the scope of Impure World reincarnation. It seems that the next thing will become very interesting. With Sage of Six Paths completely disappearing in this world, there is no possibility of resurrection anymore. The next war will determine who will be the decision maker to dominate the world. Eduosang, the other 4 movies have been assembled. At this time, Hinata walked to Yèyuè Guāng and said softly. Yèyuè Guāng turned around and hooked Hinata's Chong nose, and went to the Hokage administration building with him. Just when the two passed by Cloud Shinobi Ninja residential area. A huge pupil force gushes out from Yèyuè Guāng's own home like a tsunami. What a coincidence, is it done? Yèyuè Guāng smiled and squinted. Soon, from the middle of the street, a slender figure ran quickly. It's Uchiha Spring who has taken off his bandage. Master Everbright, the Uchiha sect, who had condensed the violent pupil power, found Yèyuè Guāng, trod up, and threw himself into the opponent's arms. After months of darkness, she couldn't wait to see the figure that made her think about it day and night again. Feeling that the other party is not as hot as Sam Yi or Terumi Mei, but it is soft and boneless, full of youthful vigor. Yèyuè Guāng honestly stayed on the curling circle of Uchiha Spring for 2 seconds. It made the other's cheeks flush. Did you make it? Yèyuè Guāng asked. Advertisement, but in fact, he had already guessed it when he felt the pupil power just now. Uchiha Quan nodded excitedly. Let's go, together. Yèyuè Guāng habitually clicked on the mole under the corner of his eye. I think that Uchiha Spring still has a more flavor when wearing glasses, and the attribute of the glasses girl suits her very well. When Hinata was not paying attention, Uchiha Quan suddenly stood on tiptoe, touching her fingertips on Yèyuè Guāng's face. Feeling the warmth of his profile, Yèyuè Guāng turned his head to look. But seeing that Uchiha Quan had already turned her pretty face to the other side, she didn't dare to look at herself again. Yèyuè Guāng was slightly angry, showing sincerity. The 5 Shadows Conference, in the original work, is because Fourth Raikage thought that the 8 Tails Killer Bee was abducted by Uchiha Sasuke and asked Konoha to give an explanation as the fuse. And now, Yèyuè Guāng took the initiative to initiate it. The current situation in the 5 ninja villages. Naruto is the adopted daughter of Yèyuè Guāng. Mizukage and Fengying are Yèyuè Guāng's wife. Raikage is Yèyuè Guāng's cousin. Naturally, they will not refute Yèyuè Guāng's meaning. As Tsuchikage, it really has nothing to do with Yèyuè Guāng. But the other 4 Darin villages have all decided to participate in the meeting. No matter how stubborn he is, he dare not give up this face. Each shadow is only allowed to lead 2 guards to Konoha. This rule Yèyuè Guāng has not changed. Of course it was not because he was jealous, but because he asked the villages to show respect. Of course, it is mainly aimed at Iwagakure, who has a weak relationship with him. When Yèyuè Guāng led Hinata and Uchiha Springs to the Hokage administration building, the shadows and representatives of the other 4 ninja villages have already arrived. Cloud Shinobi's 4th Raikage eye leads Darui and Hei, who are known as his right-hand man. Zai's left eye is still wearing a black eye mask, covering the Sharingan that cannot be actively closed. Sand Shinobi's 5th Kazekage Yekura, led by Gaara and Tamari, Kankuro stayed at Sanagakure. Mist Shinobi's 5th Mizukage Terumi Mei, leading the guard is not the 2 weak chickens in the original work, Zhongqing and Chongjuro. It is Kimimaro and Shiro who both have cage-level strength. Advertisement Rock Shinobi's Onoki, who took his disciple Akazu and his granddaughter, Rock Shinobi, felt a lot of pressure. He felt that among all the forces present, only he and Yèyuè Guāng had a bad relationship. Did it yesterday? This time just summoning everyone here, there must be something major happening. Terumi Mei stroked the bangs in front of her eyebrows and smiled lightly. It's best to get rid of all the troubles at once. There have been too many things in the shinobi during the recent period. You just want to finish the matter soon, but resign from Mizukage and move to Konoha, right? Ye Kang said indifferently. Why, Ye Kang, you don't want it? Then you will stay in Sanagakure for the rest of your life as your wind shadow is ready. Tenten and Hikaru are together to make a villain. Terumi Mei snorted coldly. Others present turned their heads to the other side. Damn it, Is this the Five Shadows Conference or Gongdu Opera? What are you talking about? Do you want to withdraw first? 283 Otherwise, I'm afraid of being killed, you. Yèyuè Guāng was so stunned that she didn't strike a single place. She was not like Terumi Mei, and she was able to say this kindly. Among the women of Yèyuè Guāng, no one can beat Terumi Mei. It's really clever to turn Ying into his own wife. Remember that the girl in Hokage is the adopted daughter of Yèyuè Guāng. He doesn't want to change the next Raikage to his own woman, right? Onoki muttered inwardly. To be honest, it's a bit beautiful. It's a pity that Zhang Mo has long been unable to use his stuff. You can hear you arguing through the door, so can you stop it at this time? Yèyuè Guāng, who led Hinata and Uchiha Springs into the meeting room, couldn't help but rubbed his temples. After the war is over, will these women live together? Isn't it good for everyone to make a villain peacefully together? Still, soft girls like Hinata and Uchiha Springs behave better. Not only is it not troublesome, maybe they want a 3-person meal, they will not object. But Yèyuè Guāng thinks too much. Hinata and their character, even if they don't make trouble, it doesn't mean they will accept that kind of thing. Even if they accept it, the review agency will not accept it. Chapter 169 The Fewer Edges and Corners, 5th More Seeking Subscription. Seeing the arrival of Yèyuè Guāng, Yèyuè Guāng also stopped tormenting with Terumi Mei. Well, it was all because of her being spoiled unilaterally. Without uniting Samui and Mabui, how could she tear each other? Yèyuè Guāng was too lazy to talk nonsense. After sitting down, he first asked Nara Shikamaru, who was present, to explain to everyone the Moon Eyes plan for the real purpose of the Dawn organization. After all, when White Zetsu tried to use this plan to abduct the second pillar in the Uchiha ruins, the Shaoqiangs were all present. Nara Shikamaru, who was in charge of IQ among them, can be said to be more appropriate to explain this matter. However, Yèyuè Guāng noticed that Tamari, standing behind Yèyuè Guāng, did not show any special emotions when facing Shikamaru. It took a long time to remember that Nara Shikamaru was brushed off in the semifinals of the Chunin exam. No relationship with each other. Spray ruined a marriage accidentally. And Nara Shikamaru explained that Project Tsuki no Mi was on the way. Whether it was Fourth Raikage or Onoki, both eyes widened in shock. Use the moon to cast illusions, so that all human beings all over the world fall into a world of dreams. This is really something that people can do. But then I thought of the rumor that Yèyuè Guāng killed Sage of Six Paths some time ago. And after coming to Konoha and getting the Stonehammer news, they feel that this kind of thing is not impossible. However, White Zetsu's explanation at the time was not as detailed as the original 5 Shadow Talk period, as Midu explained. Therefore, after Nara Shikamaru's narration, Yèyuè Guāng had to add 2 sentences. The necessities needed to carry out this plan are the 9 big-tailed beasts. Now Akatsuki has 4, and we have 5. I plan to. Halfway through the conversation, Yèyuè Guāng suddenly thought of something and raised his eyes and asked. Before telling the plan, I would like to ask everyone present, do you all agree to kill Akatsuki? There are no people who support Project Tsuki no Mi, right? Although the original 5 Shadows is opposed to Infinite Tsukuyomi. But after all, the current situation can no longer be analyzed with the original plot as a model. The strongest toolman Otsutsuki Hagoromo has disappeared. Urju's eyes are on Uchiha Izumi, and he himself has fallen deep into the world of Tsukuyomi. Naruto has just started to learn how to control 9 tails, and it is basically impossible to reach the 6 paths level. It's good to be able to achieve Super Shadow, advertisement. Yèyuè Guāng couldn't help but doubt the many changes of this kind. Will there be no one who yearns for the world of Infinite Tsukuyomi like Urzuzi? Everyone looked at each other. Terumi Mei complained a little. If it is a world that can really realize the inner desires, I would hope that all the women around me will disappear, leaving me alone. Yèyuè Guāng didn't have an interface, but he nodded slightly. Yèyuè Guāng turned Byakugan. Why did Marty get to my head? However, what Terumi Mei said is not unreasonable. Of course, her love mind would hope that Yèyuè Guāng is the only one beside her. The ghost is willing to share a husband with other women. But want Yèyuè Guāng, the B********* D to take care of it? Don't even think about it. Didn't you see Uchiha Kwan that Nizi's big watery eyes were placed on Yèyuè Guāng from beginning to end? Haven't they been removed? Terumi Mei dared to pack the ticket, it won't be long. There is another one who grabs public food. Notice Terumi Mei's grimace in the eyes. Yèyuè Guāng couldn't help but feel guilty. This Nizi doesn't really agree with the Infinite Tsukuyomi plan, right? The more wives and lovers, the better. If there is only one lover, a triangular relationship will be formed. The triangle relationship is a state of angularity. And the more wives and lovers, the rounder the relationship, the fewer edges and corners, and the less friction and turmoil between each other. This remark was not made by Yèyuè Guāng, but was seen in his previous life. But feel-good TMD makes sense. Immediately afterwards, Terumi Mei gave him another white look and said, but even if I'm not satisfied, it's a part of my life that I can't give up. I will protect the real world. Yèyuè Guāng. Ming is right. I was surprised to hear such reasonable words from her. Terumi Mei. Yèyuè Guāng, you want to fight, don't you? Advertisement Fourth Raikage Yidao. It's hard to develop Cloud Shinobi to where it is now. How could it be possible to give in? Hinata. I want to be with Odosen in the real world. Onoki. I hate the guy Uchiha Madara, and I don't agree with this plan. After 5 shadows expressed their opinions one after another, the guards standing at the round table also expressed their views. Gaara. Kimimaro. Dedicating my life to the people of Everbright, this is my true life. Bye. There is no future in the false world, we will not give up hope. Seeing Terumi Mei, Yi Kang and the others were not blackened, Yèyuè Guāng also breathed a sigh of relief and cut to the topic. Well, let's discuss the strategic plan for the Fourth Ninja World War. Is it the Fourth Ninja War? Hearing this word, everyone looked solemn again. It used to be a war between country and country and between village and village. But now it has become to guard the world, all Shinobu villages unite and fight with the enemy's team. Who would have thought that one day the 5 ninja villages would actually fight together? In fact, Yèyuè Guāng didn't have any plans at the beginning, the money is good, and planned to learn from the original book and engage in the Ninja Union Army. Damn it, united with an army of 80,000, are there 8 people who finally contributed? At the end of the fight, cage level went everywhere, and it was not as superb as a dog. The final decision on the outcome of the war is not the few 6 paths level players? What are the 5 shadows, what are the blood successors, and they all deal with soy sauce. The only thing Rock Lee did when he opened 6th gate was to give up. Those Xiaoqiang who had a sense of existence in the early stage, except for Neji who died unjustly, Yèyuè Guāng can't remember what other people did. But since the Shinobi world is now under its own management, why use it? What's more, what should the chairman do after the boss has finished the work? These little rabbits have to witness the capital power that rules the world with their own eyes, so that they can be more obedient in the future. Old Capitalist Chapter 170 Naruto, you are green, first more seeking subscription. Next, it's about the arrangements of the Jinchuriki. There is not much controversy about the establishment of the Ninja Alliance Army. But there is a problem, but it has triggered heated discussions among the 5 shadows. That's how to place Jinchuriki as the key to Project Tasuki no Mi. There are nothing more than 2 methods. First, let them join the war as a member of the coalition forces. Second, hide them until the end of the war. Fourth Raikage thinks it should be hidden. Like the simple-minded fool like Killer B, he thinks it is too easy to catch the enemy's trap. If you are caught by the opponent and want to take it back, it will be quite troublesome. Onoki took the opposite view. Rather than distributing combat power to take care of Jinchuriki, it is better to let Jinchuriki join the battle as a powerful combat force. After all, the 5 Jinchuriki who are currently staying in Konoha, apart from Nine Tails Naruto, the other 4 can perfect the power of the Master Tail Beast, right? As for Hinata, Yi Kang, and Terumi Mei, it depends on the attitude of Yèyuè Guāng. Raikage and Tsuchikage, who had tit-for-tat opinions, also set their sights on the initiator of this meeting. Let them join the battle, anyway, it's the last battle, then all the chips should be thrown to the stud. Yèyuè Guāng made a decision and said, "Shout, okay, since it's your 283 decision, then what should I do?" Although I saw that Yèyuè Guāng had the opposite opinion, Fourth Raikage did not refute it anymore, and agreed with it. However, just like the principle that all the eggs cannot be put in one basket, it is better for the 5 Jinchuriki to spread out. Onogi Interface. The opponent's lineup can basically be determined to be the leader Uchiha Madara, the remaining members of Akatsuki, and the stolen Impure World reincarnation form of the strong villagers. I don't know what method the other party will take to attack it. Terumi Mei put her cheek in one hand, and said with interest. Notify the moneybags first, lest they make a moth afterwards. Yèyuè Guāng interjected. I will lead a small number of special forces to conduct beheading operations, and the rest will be left to you. The moneybag in Yèyuè Guāng's mouth naturally refers to the big names of various countries. Although Yèyuè Guāng doesn't care about the thoughts of these old friars at all, at least the wallet still needs to rely on them. Face, still have to be given. Advertisement unlike the original, BAFA, there is no public declaration of war by Runtu. Therefore, I don't know which direction the filthy army will attack. Therefore, the Ninja United Army was divided into 5 units. Put the lineup into a big character entrenched in the 4 sides of Thunder Country. Although because of Yèyuè Guāng, at least 4 of the 5 ninja villages, except Iwagakure, are calm on the surface. But long before Yèyuè Guāng took control of the 4 ninja villages, the hatred of various countries had long been ingrained. It was Terumi Mei and Yi Kang who sent people to constantly do ideological work, and they barely calmed the mood of the genin, and reluctantly formed a ninja coalition. I miss it. The air of Cloud Shinobi Village, Cloud Canyon. Uchiha Spring, who had not returned here for a long time, yelled freely, and the sound echoed in the valley. Although she is from Konoha herself, Cloud Shinobi is undoubtedly his second hometown. Stayed here for 5 years, Hinata also smiled from the heart. It's been a long time since I came back, and it feels like a big change. Not only the 2 of them, Terumi Mei also showed nostalgia. Although she didn't stay in Cloud Shinobi Village voluntarily at the beginning, she had to admit it. I have a deep feeling for this place. As in the past, Yèyuè Guāng sat on the steps behind the gorge, looking at the excited women, feeling inexplicably leading a family of 30 to go home for the new year. Only Hanabi doesn't understand the feeling of returning home from women such as Hinata and Uchiha Kwan. But for the place where my sister grew up, she was full of curiosity and her little eyes blinked. The strongest Thor system, open black lens bracket host. Yèyuè Guāng close black lens bracket, first template, Enel. Unlocking degree. 100%, second template. Masaka Mikoto absolute ability form, to reach the realm of God with a human body. Unlocking rate. 99.5%, slightly alert his own system panel. Very good, the third template will be awakened soon. Not only the people of Yèyuè Guāng, because the gathering place of the ninja allied forces is the land of thunder. Therefore, including Konoha Shaoqiang, many ninjas from other countries have also focused on Cloud Shinobi Village. Advertisement and following Yèyuè Guāng and his group walked into the training ground of the Canyon of Clouds. Naruto, who could see the center of the field, was collapsing to the ground. It can be seen from the appearance of sweating that he has just finished his cultivation. And standing by his opponent, who is responsible for guiding his practice. It was Killer Bee. As early as when Yèyuè Guāng took Hinata to attack Mount Myoboku. Naruto began to practice using Nine Tails chakra. Under the guidance of Killer Bee, he can finally use the power of Nine Tails more proficiently. Many Shaoqiang who had a good relationship with Naruto were also watching. Can't help but sigh secretly, Naruto really threw them farther and farther. Uncle Guang, you are here. Noting the arrival of Yèyuè Guāng and others, Naruto quickly got up from the ground and ran over and laughed. Didn't you bring a piece of the second pillar? Yèyuè Guāng suddenly remembered Uchiha Sasuke, who is still sleeping in Tsukuyomi's state. Sasuke, I left him at Konoha Hospital. Sakura will take care of him. Naruto scratched the back of Kaido's head. Yèyuè Guāng instantly showed a non-smiling expression. Then Naruto, you may be green. Huh? Naruto's mouth widened in shock, and she didn't understand what Yèyuè Guāng meant. Let Haruno Sakura take care of the second pillar. You are not afraid of accidents. Think about it. Now the second pillar is unconscious and lying on the bed, without the ability to resist. In case Haruno Sakura is horrified, he will directly rush on. Yèyuè Guāng hadn't finished speaking yet. Samui, Mabui and the others reached out their hands tacitly to stop the B's contemplation. Yèyuè Guāng looked aggrieved, but he was right. According to Haruno Sakura's dog-licking properties of her zoo, how could she let such a great opportunity in front of her? Think about it in another way. A male dog licked his goddess for the Chinese New Year to no avail. One day, the goddess suddenly became a vegetable and asked him to take care of it. You said he wouldn't take this opportunity to do anything? Look at Naruto again. FK, his face really started to turn green. Chapter 171. These two girls are not far away. Second, more seeking subscription. Hinata, just take advantage of this opportunity. You two can make a move. It doesn't matter if you use that one. Just when Naruto wondered if he should return to Konoha to replace Haruno Sakura, Yèyuè Guāng suddenly spoke, turning everyone's attention to Hinata and Uchiha Spring. Sister Quan and Master Hokage? Yamanaka frowned and estimated. Although Sister Quan is also very strong, she still can't fight against 5th generation. After all, Konoha's 5-tailed beasts rioted before. Hinata's images of hell thrust and planetary devastation's strong suppression have left many of them with an indelible impression in their hearts. Too exaggerated. In their memory, apart from Yèyuè Guāng, there is probably no second existence comparable to Hinata. Since Master Everbright said so, please enlighten me, Hinata. Uchiha Spring instantly moved to the training ground to center. Flying Thunder God, Killer Bee was taken aback. In the Third Ninja Wars, he had experience playing against Namikaze Minato. In that battle, he was very impressed with Namikaze Minato's Flying Thunder God. But the 8 tails in the inner space immediately interface. No, it's just a normal body flicker technique, so fast. Then finish it, Sister Quan. Hinata walked gently and slowly to the middle of the training ground. Stand opposite Uchiha Spring. In the next second, both eyes suddenly shrank. Byakugan, and Mangekyo Sharingan, Sister Quan's eyes have changed. When I saw Uchiha Spring's pupils are 6-pointed stars on the outside and the new Mangekyo shaped like triangular darts on the inside. Naruto subconsciously exclaimed, but he reacted in the second. Uchiha Izumi's current Sharingan in his eyes is Sasuke, and it is normal if there is a change. Those eyes are straight. Same as Madara's B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Susanoo, observes the pair of eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Spring. His eyes were bloodshot and his teeth were itchy. Let it recall the most unwilling memories. Roar. There was a roar. The silver-gray second form Susanoo roared. But compared to the previous form, the color is darker, obviously with a little chakra atmosphere of Uchiha Sasuke Susanoo. Advertisement. In addition to the stabbing sword in his right hand, there is an extra pair of arrows and crossbows in his left hand. Using Susanoo in the beginning, Sam Yi, who is an iceberg, couldn't help being surprised. You know, Yèyuè Guāng is strictly forbidden to use Mangekyo Sharingan casually by Uchiha Spring, let alone Susanoo's big tricks. Yèyuè Guāng explained, now she can use Mangekyo's pupil power without reservation. The second form Susanoo swung his sword down. Hell stab 4 Kanshu. Hinata had something to do and became a hand knife, with golden light and thunder shining constantly. Facing the smashed Suzosa sword, he went up. Who? The violent aftermath caused by the collision of the two sides' attacks, some of the weaker ones almost flew out. As expected of Hinata, So how about this trick? Uchiha Spring controlled himself. Susanoo shot a huge arrow with his left hand. This is a new ability she unlocked after possessing the pupil power of the second pillar. Hell Stab Sanban Kano. Hinata Baikugan turned slightly, and the 4 outstretched fingers of the knife in his right hand retracted his little finger into 3. The volley turned 90, and the shot Susanoo was split in half from the center. Call out. A flying thunder god trigeminal kunai suddenly passed through the other side of Hinata. That's Dad's. Naruto was surprised. Before Naruto finished speaking, Susanoo, who had grown his feet, flashed to the other side of Hinata and swung his sword. Susa Flying Thunder God. Hell Stab Urban Kano. The violent confrontation between the two sides once again set off a violent shockwave. With the momentum that seems to be flying the entire valley. This time even Hyuga Neji, Rock Lee and others, who are the stronger among Xiaoqiang, were forced to retreat again and again. Too exaggerated. I thought Naruto, who was the same age as them, was already strong enough. However, Hinata and Uchiha Springs are even more terrifying. The warm-up exercise is almost done here, right, Hinata? Uchiha Quan suddenly smiled. Sister Quan too? Hinata smiled back. Advertisement Zhang Xiaoqiang. If not for scruples, Yèyuè Guāng is here. An irritable duo like Inujaya almost burst into swearing. For you, is this level of warm-up exercises only? There must be a limit for hitting people. Okay, the next moment. 2 strands that are difficult to describe in words, contain the pupil power of destruction and creation. The pupils of the second woman's eyes continuously gush out. Baikugan's blue veins on either side of Hinata's eyes faded. Tensigan, whose pupils turned pure white, and light blue rippling light all around. Hyuga Hizashi said solemnly. Here, Tensigan. That is the ultimate form of Baikugan of the Hyuga clan. And the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Spring, under the violent rotation, turned into a circle of dark blue and purple pupils. Following Yèyuè Guāng as a follower, Konan, who wanted to avenge Nagato through this war, was scared and sweaty. And, same as Nagato, enough. However, when the second round was about to happen, Yèyuè Guāng stopped the 2 girls with a loud voice. The next strength to show, stay on the battlefield to deal with the enemy. Yèyuè Guāng stepped up, with his hands on each side, rubbing them on the head of the second woman. The 2 women also restored their eyes back to their daily state of black and white. He smiled happily like a cat being slapped. At the rear, Terumi Mei, Sammy and others secretly turned Baikugan. It feels that these 2 girls are not far away. Originally, during the time when the ninja allied forces were assembled, it was impossible for the shadows of Hinata, Terumi Mei and Yi Kang to stay with Yèyuè Guāng. They should exchange a series of specific affairs of the coalition forces with Onoki, Ai and others, and with the daimyo. However, Yi Kang and Terumi Mei had a tacit understanding of pushing this work to Gaara and Bai. The meaning is very clear when as soon as the war ended, the 2 of them stepped down and passed the positions of Fengying and Mizukage to Gaara and Bai. He moved to Konoha and became a wife with peace of mind. And Hinata as Konoha Hokage, has also begun to think about this issue. Since everyone is inappropriate, then I am not, but who will take over? She doesn't have any disciples, so would she let Hanabi come? Chapter 172 The Last War, 3rd More Seeking Subscription. With the passage of time, the 80,000 ninja allied forces have assembled. Compared with the original work, there are 5 units divided into melee combined teams, long-range combined teams, and special combined teams. Yèyuè Guāng's approach is even more straightforward. Directly divide the level into 5 troops, in the shape of big, sitting in the 5 directions of the Kingdom of Thunder. Each unit is directly led by Yinkai, Terumi Mei, Yekang, Ai, Onoki. The only exception is that as Naruto, Hinata did not serve as the captain of the troops. Instead, Jiraiya, who is one of Sannin, served. At the same time, each unit joined a Jinchuriki. The Jiraiya force is Naruto. The Jinchuriki of Terumi Mei's unit is Kimimaro. Yekang's 27th unit is Gaara. Ai's army is Killer Bee. On the other hand, Onoki is made by Wooden Golem. Each unit has a Jinchuriki sitting in town. In this way, if the enemy wants to capture all Jinchuriki, they had to disperse their forces and deal with 5 troops at the same time. Princess Tsunade is in charge of the medical unit in the rear. By the way, your phobia is not healed, right? At the headquarters of Cloud Shinobi Village, Yèyuè Guāng suddenly remembered something and asked Tsunade, the #1 tank in the Naruto world. Because it didn't happen that Jiraiya took Naruto to find Tsunade as Hokage. Therefore, Tsunade's panasemia should not be cured yet. Tsunade embraced Yu Shang with some displeased hands and hummed. I can guide other people in the operation, not to mention that not all treatments require blood. Yèyuè Guāng nodded, and finally said, finally, I, Hinata, Izumi will be in the headquarters, and once they find an enemy that others can't deal with, they will take action. The enemy that Yèyuè Guāng said that others cannot deal with. Naturally, it refers to people like Madara and Runtu where Rinnegan is installed. And he didn't expect that the fellow Black Zetsu could also use Impure World reincarnation. I don't know how it compares with Kabuto, the serpent in the original book. Advertisement How powerful is his Impure World reincarnation? This little girl is also the highest combat power? Fourth Raikage looked at Uchiha Spring in disbelief. That girl Yèyuè Hinata is nothing more, I know how tough she is. And Uchiha Izumi Cloud Shinobi also lived for 5 years. Although it is also very good, it is far less than Hinata in terms of overall strength. She can also be classified as the highest combat power. Big brother, don't underestimate this girl, you can blow you up, yo. Killer Bee gestured while humming rap. A few days ago, the warm-up exercise between Cloud Canyon Hinata and Uchiha Springs scared him and ate tails. Fourth Raikage angrily rewarded the opponent with a violent thud. But seeing Yèyuè Guāng and Killer Bee both say so, there should be no doubt. The communication work is left to the two patriarchs of the Nara family and the Yamanaka family. When Yèyuè Guāng said this, he looked at his other wife Mabui. You are responsible for staring at the money bags. In other words, it is the daimyo protection work. Although Yèyuè Guāng did not feel he had his own suppression, Mabui would still die in the tailed beast bomb of 10 tails just like the original book. But it is still necessary to guard against it. As for Naraluji who also stayed here, Yamanaka Hai and others. Sorry, Yèyuè Guāng doesn't care about their life and death. No way, it's so real. If someone else says so, Mabui will probably refute it all the time. The person who can use the Tiasong technique proficiently should be the most suitable person to sit in the headquarters. But you want to run to the last position to look at the gang of officials? It's totally overkill, right? However, Azabui, who is already a virtuous character, saw her husband speak, and did not say any more, nodding to show that she understood. Oh, at this time, the cheers outside were higher than the waves. Yèyuè Guāng knew that it was Gaara's speech that worked. And this time, there was Naruto, a ninja with a mouth that escaped the blood and bounded by the limit ninja by his side. Advertisement. The morale boost it brings is by no means as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, everyone, let's go. Yèyuè Guāng became excited after a long absence and shouted. After this war is over, there's real peace. Good. The cage-level experts in the house couldn't help but chanted, imagining the peaceful days after the war. A few hours later, this is how the ninja allied forces are deployed. Inside the crypt of Akatsuki temporary base, White Zetsu informed Uchiha Obito and the remaining Akatsuki members of the information that the clone had just returned. Is there a Jinchuriki in each unit? Obviously, it is also to disperse our forces. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned and bared his fangs and said. I thought Yèyuè Guāng was just a guy who used brute force to suppress his opponents, but I didn't expect that Yèyuè Guāng was also unexpectedly cunning. Sasori of the Red Sand said coldly, there is no way, we can only divide our fighting power into 5 parts and squeeze them. Much like Uchiha Sasuke, Sasori of Akasago, who lost his most cherished parents, is also eager to go to the world of infinite Tsukuyomi. Live the happy life of reuniting with your parents. Hip hop ha ha. Then I'll go to pack 5 tails. Last time I let that guy run away, this time it's not that simple. Hidan cried strangely. Kakuzu poured cold water on the idiot. You just relied on his ignorance of your ability of 5.0, which only slightly prevailed last time. Now that he already knows your ability, you will be dead if you go again. What are you talking about, Kakuzu? Hidan was not convinced and yelled. It's noisy. Be quiet. Uchiha Obito shouted in a deep anger, and suppressed all the members who had been arguing. Indeed, in the face of this situation, we can only divide our forces into 5 parts. After Uchiha Obito's fingers of both hands hugged in front of Uexin and tapped on his arms a few times, he finally decided. Sasori is in charge of Morizuru, Hidan and Kakuzu are in charge of the second tail, Kisame is in charge of 5 tails, and I will handle the remaining 8 tails and 9 tails. Black Zetsu dragged his hoarse voice. I, as the caster of Impure World Reincarnation, need to be in the base camp, but I will summon the dead strong to assist you. We will not lose. Chapter 173 Ninja Allied Forces vs Unclean Army, 4th more seeking subscription. Master Fengying, now there are only a few members of Akatsuki's organization, right? Following Yi Kang, who was the captain of the army, Tamari turned his eyes and asked. They shouldn't have much combat power. Recently, there have been burglaries in the tombs of Ninja Village in various countries. It can be confirmed that this is a preparation for Impure World Reincarnation. Looking at Yi Kang's face, it was obvious that he recalled the Chunin exam 3 years ago. At that time Orochimaru did not control first Hokage Senju Hashirama and second Hokage Senju Tobirama. But even the deterrence emanating from the body is still chilling. It is said that in the history of various countries, the body of the strong man who is named has been stolen. They must not be underestimated. Guarding at the border area of the Thunder Country, Yi Kang waved his hand and issued an order and shouted. Look up Gaara, he is the key to this war. The moment the voice fell, a dozen of the strongest troops surrounded Gaara in the center. The key to this war is whether Jinchuriki will be robbed of 10 or not. The opponent will definitely target Jinchuriki. Tamari also took off the iron fan behind his back, looking around with caution in his eyes, and said in a low voice. Well, from which direction will the enemy attack? Although the scene was very quiet, many people had begun to sweat. They are very clear. This is in the true sense, the war that determines the future of this world. Chio, who had long been living in seclusion, had his eyes emptied at this moment. As early as the news of Gaara being attacked reached Sand Shinobi's high-level ears. She had already learned that one of Akatsuki's members was her grandson, Sasori, who had been missing for nearly 20 years. In order to retrieve him, Chio took part in the war with a handful of old bones. Suddenly feeling a familiar and dangerous aura, Chiyo's expression merged and shouted. Everyone spread out. Chiyo shouted. However, when the incident happened suddenly, many ninjas at the scene did not have time to react at all. The sharp needle like iron sand rushed out of the ground, pierced the throats of dozens of coalition ninjas almost without hindrance. Iron sand. Yèyuè Guāng's pupils suddenly shrank. Advertisement. Of course she is familiar with this trick, and her husband Yèyuè Guāng will also use it. It's not as fast as the Everbright. Gaara coldly slapped her right hand on the ground. In an instant, a large area of land was crushed into yellow sand by the sand of the guard crane in his body. In just an instant, the terrain changed from land to desert. The rolled-up mad sand reveals the enemies hidden in the ground. Excluding a large number of white Zetsu avatars, the leader is a red-haired young man who is not more than 20 visually, manipulating a puppet. Sasori. Chiyo exclaimed in exclamation. Shout, have you been found? Sasori of the Red Sand did not intend to show mercy because of his grandmother in the hostile camp. Like Hoshigaki Kisame, he is also a supporter of Infinite Tsukuyomi. As long as I can complete Infinite Tsukuyomi, I can reunite with my dead parents. That puppet Third Raikage. The Sand Shinobi ninjas of many coalition forces headed by Baki looked at the puppets controlled by Sasori of the Red Sand in disbelief. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never believe it. The Third Raikage, known as the strongest wind shadow, was actually made into a puppet. Sinner Sasori of Red Sand, as Fifth Raikage, I want to kill you here. Yèyuè Guāng's scorch-style flames erupted, and the huge orange-red fireball hovered in the sky like a sun. Dare to say, try if you can. Sasori of Red Sand sneered again and again, and the puppet controlling Third Raikage continued to gather iron sand. The crypt at the bottom of the Kamibashi Bridge is the hiding place of Black Zetsu. Is Sasori the first one to shoot? Black Zetsu squatted on the ground and secretly analyzed the information sent back by White Zetsu. Nowadays, black and white pairs have never been integrated as before. Instead, act separately. But even so, Black Zetsu can still get first-hand information on the battlefield through the clone that White Zetsu stays here. It's not enough to rely on Sasori and those White Zetsu clones. I will give my best from the beginning. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu's hands suddenly closed tightly, and after a quick seal, he covered the palm of his right hand on the ground. Summoning technique Impure World Reincarnation. Advertisement: the battlefield where Yèyuè Guāng, Gaara and others are located. Puff, one after another coffins suddenly rose from the ground. Yèyuè Guāng and the others, who had gradually gained the upper hand, saw this scene, their faces suddenly startled. Did it appear so early? It is not waiting for the members of the ninja allied forces to take further action. The cover of the coffin that rose from the ground suddenly collapsed. One after another was covered with cracks, as if a body made of ceramic came out of it. Temari's eyes widened in astonishment. That is. Not only him, but everyone who participated in Konoha's destruction plan 3 years ago was frightened by the dead who walked out of the first coffin in the front row. Second Hokage, Senju Tobarama, however, in the back row. Sand Shinobi's first generation Shozuru Jinchuriki, share blessings. As well as Akatsuki member, Deidara. Cage level alone came 3 in one breath, not counting the ninjas who came out of other coffins and were at least Chunin elite. Is Impure World Reincarnation again? Senju Tobarama, who gradually regained consciousness, squeezed his hands and looked at his current appearance. As the developer of Impure World Reincarnation, he immediately understood what was going on. An angry flame burned in my mind, noticed Yèyuè Guāng on the opposite side, and asked with a frown. When I was reincarnated last time, remember you were there? Who was the performer this time? Or the guy named Orochimaru? It takes a lot of time to explain this, Master Second Hokage. Yèyuè Guāng Liu frowned slightly and quickly explained. To put it simply, we are currently in the Ninja World War. All the ninjas headed by the 5 great ninja villages have united, and the enemy will summon you who have passed away in history to fight as his puppets. After Senju Tobarama understood the situation a little bit, he wanted to directly use Impure World Reincarnation solution. Huh. The old man is the inventor of Impure World Reincarnation, what can be done with this technique, huh? However, in the middle of Jian, Senju Tobarama's expression changed in shock, and he found that his body could not move. Black Zetsu sneered and sneered under the cave of Shenmubi. Senju Tobarama, you will use Impure World Reincarnation, do you think I don't know? Your Impure World Reincarnation is specially prepared for me, obediently as a puppet to fight for my mother. Chapter 174. There are father and son bureaus everywhere, first more seeking subscription. A similar situation with Yèyuè Guāng also happened in other areas. Puff, covered by the violent electric current, Third Raikage is like a heavy armored tank that no one can resist, shuttles on this battlefield. Whether it is the lava-style protective cover of the soil platform or the human-shaped tail animalization of the killer bee. Can't resist his strongest spear. I didn't expect to be called back to fight with my son if he died. Third Raikage's hideous facial features huddled together and shouted at the opposite son Fourth Raikage. Boy, haven't you surpassed lousy until now? Fourth Raikage's face was darkened to coal. For him, his father is always a difficult peak to climb. Puff. The violent current overflowed violently from the body. Fourth Raikage also entered lightning-style chakra mode. Whoosh. Instantly disappeared in place, and appeared in front of Third Raikage in a flash. In terms of the speed of lightning-style chakra mode, he can really compare with his dad. But, lateral bolt of pain. Fourth Raikage yelled and slashed at his father's moon hong with a hand knife with all his strength. Bang! Other members of the Ninja Alliance army around heard a loud explosion. Success! Did you succeed? He took off the blindfold and revealed her left eye. Sharingan's she exclaimed in surprise. But then, what his Sharingan saw, smelly boy, the strength is too weak. Third Raikage yelled, twisting Fourth Raikage's throat directly and lifting it up. Under the body that is more burly three-pointed by Fourth Raikage, their current Lord Raikage looks so small. Boy! Run away! I can't control my body anymore. Third Raikage's face suddenly became extremely painful, and the fingers of his right hand changed from 4 to 3. In the next instant, he pierced his son's abdomen. Under lightning-style chakra mode, in addition to speed, Third Raikage's attack and defense are better than his own son. Hell Stab 3 Kanshu, Sharingan troops, stop the third generation. Advertisement with Sharingan's predictive ability, more than a dozen members of the Cloud Shinobi Cyclops army swarmed. They drew their knives one after another and slashed at Third Raikage's right hand in advance. Naturally, it is impossible for them to break the strongest shield with an attack of that level. However, it can be regarded as buying time for Fourth Raikage to break free from his father's restraint. He gritted his teeth and opened his eyes, and the thunderburst of hand knives smashed on Third Raikage's wrist that was twisting his throat. Lariat! Under the heavy blow, he finally broke free of his father's restraint. Ahem! Fourth Raikage, who managed to escape, coughed violently. Killer Bee, who had recovered from its tailbeastization, hurried up. Is it all right, big brother? I'm fine, but Fourth Raikage twisted his eyebrows and looked forward. Ah! Help! Help! My hand is chopped off. Screams came one after another from the coalition ninjas who were killed by the Third Raikage Hell Assault. There are many members of the Cloud Shinobi Sharingan unit. The elite of Cloud Shinobi died in the hands of his father, who was known as the strongest Raikage. Is there anything more ironic than this? Everyone retreat to me. You are not the old man's opponent. I watched so many ninjas, many of them Cloud Shinobi ninjas, died in his own hands. Third Raikage's face was also distorted in pain, and he roared furiously. If you kid still bears the name of Raikage, come and kill me quickly, otherwise, just let that stinky kid come. Was so excited by my own father. Fourth Raikage also aroused an unprecedented fighting spirit, gritted his teeth and shouted. That's what I planned. Ready to do it. Although his fighting character is reckless, he is not an idiot. It is impossible to deal with the old man by himself. That being the case, let the AB team join forces. Okay, brother. Killer Bee jumped up and jumped to Fourth Raikage's side. Seeing this scene, Third Raikage's hideous face finally appeared a little relieved, and shouted. Okay, come on one, however, just yelled out 3 words. The facial features of Third Raikage, who were struggling to heal, suddenly froze. Advertisement. After a few seconds, his face was expressionless as if it were a sculpture. The 3 fingers of the right hand retracted one more. Hell Stab Urban Kano, Tutai shouted out a voice. No, third generation master is completely controlled. Damn thing. Then, let's go. Thunder broke out on the surface of Fourth Raikage's body for the second time, roaring and charging. The other side of the battlefield. The same father-son game is underway. 2 golden flashes shuttled between the battlefields. Jiraiya of Hanzo of the Salamander, who was busy dealing with Impure World reincarnation, gritted his teeth and looked at the 2 lights inside. No, the speed is still faster than Minato. The moment Jiraiya finished saying this, a flash of light drove another self-radius into the forest. I don't know how many tree trunks were broken along the way. That trick is Rasengan. Use Rasengan's light and shadow to hit the opponent and land on the ground. Amazingly, Fourth Hokage, Golden Glitter, Namikaze Minato. But being beaten out and in a mess, Naruto, who was incompletely tailed animal-like form, covered the abdomen that was concentrated by Rasengan. Although 9 Tails chakra can heal wounds on its own. But chakra is also limited. To Qian Zhao, second, the original 9 Tails mode will consume a lot of chakra. I don't know how many more times it can be used under the continuous onslaught of Namikaze Minato. Have you been able to chakra from Master 9 Tails? It's amazing, Naruto. Namikaze Minato smiled at the flying thunder god kunai in his hand. Although the master's is not perfect yet, as expected of my dad, I can actually keep up with the speed of my 9 Tails form. Naruto covered the wound with a wry smile and got up from the ground. No, it should be said that you can actually keep up with Mrs. Minato's speed, which is surprising. Kakashi also showed Sharingan in his left eye, sweating profusely, looking at the person in front of him. Konoha's white fang tooth, Hitaki Tsukumo. Kakashi's cold sweat kept dripping from his forehead, and he was full of emotion. You are really strong, Dad. It's another father-son game. Chapter 175. The enemy is stronger, my side is stronger. Second, more seeking subscription. As the 5 main battlefields have officially started wars. Yèyuè Guāng, who sits at the headquarters, also knows the intelligence of the various theaters at the moment. Compared with the original work, Kabuto, the serpent, deliberately put together the shadows of previous dynasties in order to pretend to be coercive. Black Zetsu, a 1,000-year-old bachelor, is obviously much shrewd. He is not interested in grouping, but directly summons Impure World reincarnation for the weaknesses of the major forces. For example, let Senju Toburama, the strongest water style, deal with Yekura who uses Scorch style. At the same time, Gaara and Senju Toburama also have strong restraint. And Third Raikage, Lousy, who almost crushed his son in any aspect, went to deal with Cloud Shinobi. Second Mizukage, who is good at water style and illusion, is arranged to clean up Onogi who is not good at illusion and speed ninja. And the pure second Tsuchikage has no, and also has the small map gun level of Dust Escape. Terumi Mei is busy dealing with the resurrected strong men such as Nagato and Uchiha Itachi. Not to mention Konoha. Jiraiya directly arranged Hanzo of the Salamander as his dream monster, and Naruto, who was not yet fully master Nine Tails chakra, was clearly arranged by his lousy Namikaze Minato. Even Hitaki Kakashi, 287 Might Guy, are also against their lousy. Hitaki Sakumo and Mightwear. Although Might Day's daily strength is not as good as Chunin, don't forget that in the state of reincarnation, 8 inner gates does not count the cost. As soon as the dead door opened, Hitaki Shumo at the top of cage level had to back down by 3 points. Master Everbright, the situation is a bit unfavorable, do you want to adjust your strategy? Yamanaka, who was wearing a telepathic communication instrument to analyze the upper half of his face, saw everything on the battlefield in his eyes. Anxiously reported to Yèyuè Guāng and shouted, "It feels like the ninja allied forces are completely crushed and beaten. You look down on the coalition army too much, just wait and see." Yèyuè Guāng is as calm as ever. Indeed, compared to Kabuto's Impure World reincarnation lineup in the original, Black Zetsu's is obviously too luxurious. But it is not only the enemy's side that has been strengthened. Although it is no longer possible for Naruto to advance to the 6 pads level, Naruto is not weakened at the moment compared to himself at the same time. However, Yekang, Kimimaro, Bai and many other powerful men who should have passed away in the original work. The strength has also been unprecedentedly improved. He even reached cage level for a while. Yèyuè Guāng never believes that the Ninja Alliance army will lose unless there is someone who is super cage level like Madara. Even if he comes out, he will take action to suppress it. The situation of the battle was exactly the same as Yèyuè Guāng had expected. Facing the Impure World reincarnation army at the beginning, the ninja allied forces did seem to be somewhat powerless. But as time went by, everyone gradually got used to it and knew clearly how to deal with these deadly strong men. The battle begins to reverse. Advertisement, Shuhei Spear. Yekang troops. Accompany Gaara to condense the sand into a spear with the Madara pattern on the body of Morizaru. And throw it into the body of Sasori of the Red Sand. Sasori of the Red Sand, once known as Sand Shinobi's genius puppeteer. Ended his ups and downs of life. Damn it, it is dusk now. Sasori in the form of a puppet looked up at the setting sun in the sky, stretched out his hand and tried to call the moon he dreamed of, and smiled bitterly. Obviously, I almost succeeded. There is no future in the illusory world. Gaara dragged her tired body over, with a hint of pity between her eyebrows, and said, "You will reunite with your parents in that world, Sasori Akasa." Ha ha. Sasori of the Red Sand coughed out a mouthful of blood, and after a strange smile, he said as if relieved, "Maybe that's not bad." Accompanied by the Red Sand, Sasori closed his eyes, a cage level of the enemy army. Killed. However, the war is far from over. Ninfa Scorch style is too steamy and chaotic. The terrifying heat, Bafa, seemed to dye this sunset redder, under Yi Kang's control. The sea of fire seemed to distort the surrounding space, and rushed towards Senju Toburama. Senju Toburama made a seal that no water-style ninja has ever seen. Water-style water rushing wave, compared with the Scorch-style fire sea, the current blasting area is insignificant. At the moment of collision with it, a big hole was punched in the sea of fire of Scorch style. Before Yi Kang had time to make a second counterattack. In the blasting water stream, several kunai flew from the breach of the Scorch-style flame. There is also Flying Thunder God kunai hidden in water style. Yi Kang had seen Uchiha Spring Flying Thunder God more than once, and he immediately saw what it was. Quickly flashed sideways, pulling the distance between himself and Flying Thunder God by 1 position. In order to prevent Senju Toburama from making a surprise attack with Flying Thunder God slash. However, in the next instant, Yi Kang found out that those few Flying Thunder God Kuwu did not come to him. After passing by his side, he flew straight to Gaara, who had just defeated Sasori of Akasha. Tamari, who was busy packing up the other white Zetsu clones in the distance, cried out. Advertisement, Gaara. Be careful. Gaara saw this and quickly patted her hands on the ground. Suddenly, a wall of more than 10 meters high was raised, and Flying Thunder God was unstoppable. But at this moment, Senju Toburama flashes using Flying Thunder God. There was a huge sand wall in front of him, with one-handed seals and bulging cheeks on both sides. In the next instant, a straight water gun the size of a little finger was ejected from Senju Toburama's mouth. Water-style water-severing wave. Regardless of its small size, it is an out-and-out S-grade water style. Puppy, the sand wall made by Gaara is like paper paste. Without the slightest blocking, it was cut through the moment it was hit by the opponent. Temari's eyes widened in an unspeakable way. Gaara's sand, it's so simple to be won. Seeing that water-severing wave is about to hit me. Gaara stepped back quickly, but the water-severing wave still swept across his shoulder. A bloody mouth was left behind, dripping with blood, constantly pouring out of it. One-tail kid, run away, I'm going to be real, Senju Tobirama shouted in a deep voice. He couldn't control his physical actions, so he could only remind him verbally. Don't underestimate Fengying, Master Second Hokage. Yekura's voice suddenly rang from behind Senju Tobirama's head. Senju Tobirama was taken aback, and suddenly felt the strangeness on the soles of his feet. It was found that his feet had been entangled by countless detonating symbols. Senju Tobirama glanced at Hato. Have you buried the detonating talisman with sand in advance? That's right, you got it. Gaara covered the wound and shouted. And Yi Kang at the back also immediately sealed. Scorch-style steam kill detonation technique. Rumbling. Endless detonation symbols, coupled with the high temperature of scorch style. Almost blow up the entire battlefield. Chapter 176 Yin and Yang Weird, third more seeking subscription. Good job. Before being swallowed by Scorch Style's explosion, Senju Tobirama smiled and left a word. Rumbling. The entire battlefield was blown up with a mushroom cloud. I clearly saw Senju Tobirama's body in the sea of flames turning into debris. But it recovered at an extremely fast speed, Yi Kang quickly shouted. Seal class. Even if it is blown to pieces, the body of Impure World reincarnation will soon recover. Because the original intention of this design is to die with the enemy. However, the timing of the deceased's body repair is the biggest flaw. Take advantage of this time to lock them up with a sealing technique. It is the best way to deal with it besides lifting the seal. Yes. Several members of the Sand Shinobi SEAL team hurriedly flocked up and waved the seal scroll in their hands, preparing to seal Senju Tobirama, who had just recovered a pair of feet. Boom, however, the members of Sand Shinobi's SEAL squad just unrolled the scroll. A huge coffin board whizzed out from the mud and shut in Senju Tobirama, who had just repaired a pair of feet. The sudden change made everyone stunned. 1 second later, I saw the coffin lid automatically close. Yi Kang was the first to react, controlling the scorching fireball to blast, and shouting at the same time. Don't want to run, however, it was a step slower. The moment before the scorch-style fireball was about to blow up the coffin. The coffin quickly retracted into the dirt. The table Kabuto fireball blasted the soil where the coffin was just now into high-temperature crystals. But he couldn't change the result, he could only take back Senju Tobirama and watch the black hand behind the scenes. Damn it, almost succeeded, Tamari couldn't help but explode. Just now Gaara cooperated with Yekang's scorch-style detonating talisman, which is a surprising victory. After using this move once, it won't work the second time. Enough, Master Fengying. At this time, Yamanaka Kaiichi's voice suddenly rang in the minds of the Yekang troops. At this time, the Yamanaka clan can only achieve the effect through collective use of the heart-turning technique and the Konoha characteristic induction ninja. Yamanaka Hai repeatedly said, Advertisement, don't worry about Master Second Hokage, although the battle on your side is over, the loss doesn't seem to be low. Yi Kang turned to look at the battlefield. Thousands of ninjas led by him. After only a few hours of war, nearly half of the people died in the war. Some of them died in battles with White Zetsu's army. But more are the mapgun level attacks of cage level powerhouses like Senju Tobirama and Deidara. Moreover, Yi Kang's troops were relatively smooth. What kind of tragedy has been going through without other troops? Master Fengying's troops take a break for now, Yamanaka Hai repeatedly said. Either you or your army members are already very tired, and there are still many people who are seriously injured. Don't force it for the time being. Yi Kang nodded, then gave Tamari a look. The other party nodded to express understanding, and then stepped back to signal the survivors to rest on the spot. Yi Kang also leaned tiredly on a huge rock and asked back. What's the next course of action? Continue to stand still. Do not, the new voice echoed in Yi Kang's mind, making her sleepy brain arouse. No, who is Yèyuè Guāng? After the rest, go to join the Konoha unit led by Jiraiya. Yèyuè Guāng said, the latest information just received, Runtugai has already passed over there, but all the troops that ended the battle will be concentrated over there. Are you still at the headquarters? It's comfortable to have two cute little girls with you, right? Yi Kang's corner suddenly picked up a dangerous arc, and said a little yin and yang strangely. Yèyuè Guāng at the headquarters blinked. These women have different personalities, but they all feel that they all have one characteristic in common. I always like to be strange to myself. I'm trying to deal with the most troublesome enemy and regenerate. Women don't understand. Humph. Yi Kang did not continue to struggle either. Of course she also knew that Yèyuè Guāng would make such an arrangement, so naturally there was his reason. Although this man is incredibly licentious in his daily life. But at the critical moment, the chain has never been dropped. Yi Kang was just upset that he was almost killed in the battle on the front line. The B**********D was accompanied by two beautiful young girls at the headquarters. Yekang's troops were considered a good start for the ninja allied forces. Advertisement, but there is also the reason why they are too lucky and their opponents are not too strong. -0 seeking flowers. 0 after all, at the level of Yi Kang, Gaara and others. Except for Senju Tobirama, neither Sasori of Akasago nor Deidara of Impure World Reincarnation, they do not need to be concerned. The other troops were not so lucky. Namikaze Minato, Hanzo of the Salamander, Hitaki Shushige who fought against Jiraiya's forces. Which one is the fuel-efficient lamp? And Mist Shinobi also has freaks such as Nagato, Uchiha Itachi Hoshigaki Kisame and so on. Maybe Black Zetsu thinks that Shuhei is just the weakest among the 9 big-tailed beasts, and does not plan to invest too much combat power. So I fell a little bit. It's really careless, I didn't expect Senju Tobirama to be counted. Fortunately, Black Zetsu, who took back Senju Tobirama, breathed a sigh of relief. Even White Zetsu stole the remains of almost all the historical powerhouses in the ninja world. But Senju Tobirama is still able to rank in the top 5. If he is sealed, not to mention enough to affect occupation. At least the odds of winning must be lowered. Obito has already set off, so I must have a new action. Black Zetsu muttered to himself and started to walk outside. Obviously, he didn't intend to stay in a nest like Kabuto in the original book, waiting to be caught by someone else. Time has entered the night. Cloud Shinobi Village, the headquarters of the Shinobi United Army. Yèyuè Guāng said abruptly, "Ming's troops, things are not so good." Yamanaka, who was just about to report the military situation to Yèyuè Guāng, was shocked. I haven't said it yet, how did he know it? Of course Yamanaka Keiichi didn't know, he was about to fully unlock LV6 Misaka Makoto's Yèyuè Guāng soon. The perception ability has completely reached a heaven-defying realm. Don't talk about covering a ninja village, it's just one, and even losing a country is not a problem. The enemy forces Terumi Mei's unit faced were except for the human-shaped tail beast, Hoshigaki Kisame. There is also the presence of the 2 filthy army, Nagato and Uchiha Itachi, whose strength is almost at the ceiling. Although Terumi Mei's army has 4 cage levels including herself, Kimimaro, Bai, and Konan. But in the face of these freaks, it is obviously not enough. Master Everbright, let me go. Uchiha Izumi offered to fight the way, and Chapter 177 The Strongest Zombie Duo, 4th more seeking subscription. A purple light and shadow swiftly shuttled through the Land of Thunder and continued to advance to the southern border area. Miss Quan, The moment when a crowd of Cloud Shinobi troops saw the incoming people, they were ready to say hello. A layer of dark gray skeleton ribs appeared on the side of the purple light shadow, and a huge skeleton arm emerged. One punch smashed them all into mash, and just after these people were smashed into the deep pit, their whole bodies changed from Cloud Shinobi ninjas to pale and strange fern plants at a speed visible to the naked eye. This is a clone of White Zetsu posing. This level of disguise can't fool my eyes. Uchiha Izumi indifferently watched the corpse of White Zetsu underground, and looked up at the end of the horizon. The huge amount of chakra that has passed through the general cage level is constantly overflowing from there. You have to hurry up. After saying, 28-7, Uchiha Quan once again drove on the road with flying thunder god speed. The southern battlefield of Thunder Country. How is Sasuke now? As the late Brokan Uchiha Sasuke opened his Mangekyo Sharingan, he asked Konoha Xiaoqiang around him. Ino Shikacho and the 6 members of the Yuri Red class are now under the leadership of Terumi Mei. At that time, they were all present, and Uchiha Itachi knew that they were Uchiha Sasuke's classmates. So when I found them, I immediately asked them about Uchiha Sasuke. Yamanaka Ino, who has almost given up on the second pillar, quickly moved away from Uchiha Itachi and shouted at the same time. He is still in your illusion world. Little Sakura is taking care of him. Originally, Lord 5th Hokage could disarm her Tsukuyomi, but Lord Everbright said that Sasuke would not want to wake up, so he gave up this practice. Although it used to be the licking dog of the 2 pillars. But she is obviously more sensible than Sakura. It's impossible to confess to have vegetated for a lifetime, right? Hearing this answer, Uchiha Itachi first looked stagnant, and a few seconds later said with a trace of relief between his eyebrows. Alright, that's enough. Everyone, don't look into his eyes. Also as a participant in the Uchiha Ruins battle, Nara Shikamaru already knew about Uchiha Itachi's abilities and shouted to remind everyone present. Once you hit Tsukuyomi or Amaterasu, you're done. However, Uchiha Itachi's right eye had already shed blood and tears, and at the same time, his left hand was sealed. Fire-style Great Fireball technique, Amaterasu. The moment the Great Fireball was spit out from the mouth, the fire of black inflammation was released in the eyes to cover the fireball. A giant black and red fireball is formed, and Amaterasu's attack range is raised to another level in one breath. Advertisement, hurry up, that's an Amaterasu flame that can't be extinguished. Nara Shikamaru shouted again to remind. Water-style water barrier. The water barrier released by Terumi Mei is not as scary as Senju Tobirama. But it definitely surpasses 99% of water-style ninjas in the world. A spiral wall of water suddenly rises from the underground soil, enclosing the black and red fireball. Even if the fire of Amaterasu cannot be extinguished, it can be sent into the depths of the sea behind you. The other side. Facing the white-haired Nagato, one of Xiaoqiang's Nagaya and Akamaru sharply rotated their bodies and slammed into each other. Teeth through teeth. Don't go up. That kind of trick is useless for Nagato. Konan, with a pair of angel wings made of paper growing behind him, shouted to remind him. Sure enough, Yaton Ya hit halfway. At a distance of 2 meters from Nagato's body, he stopped abruptly in the air. As if there was an invisible wall of air between them. Sura rode. Nagato's right hand turned into a muzzle, and the cannon shot Akamaru, who was transformed into a Nagaya, on the other side. Akamaru. Dog Jaya yelled out of voice, however, he didn't care about his dog either. In the next second, the throat was pinched by Nagato. In just a second, Kanagaya felt the chakra in his body flow quickly. Nagato, with Madara's white sideburns, has her white hair gradually turning back to red. I haven't seen Nagato like that in a long time. Conan looked at his old friend with a complicated expression. I didn't expect to see him recovering from health after he died. The current Nagato has a power that absolutely surpasses Cage level, which is different from the trash in his lifetime. Black Zetsu, who was about to join Uchiha Obito, thought while moving. Just use him to get 5 tails first, right? Thinking of this, Nagato, who is completely controlled, has no interest in the high-level dragon sleeves such as Inujaya. After absorbing his chakra, he threw it aside and rushed towards Kimimaro behind. Universal pull. Suddenly, Kimimaro only felt a strong attraction, and pulled herself abruptly towards the other party. Advertisement, suction. In that case, Kimimaro no longer hesitated, and was wrapped in the blood-red-tailed beast chakra. The whole person is transformed into a half-tailed beast with a small tail beast. The right arm is turned into a huge bone spear, and Boil-style buff is added. Boil-style dance of iron line flower. A spear made of the hardest bones, coupled with Boil-style to promote impact blessing. Kimimaro is confident that this can even penetrate Gaara's absolute defense. Utilize the suction power of the universal pull. Kimimaro is going to use this trick directly to poke the other party to the heart. Rinnegan was slightly weak in Nagato's eye sockets, and the other hand changed his hand with a wave. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Kimimaro was caught off guard, he was thrown out and hit the mountain wall on the right. Kimimaro. Bai worried shouted. Conan also looked at his dead friend in astonishment. Universal pull and Shinra Tianzheng are used at the same time. Has the 5-second gap weakness disappeared? Nagato didn't wait for Kimimaro to stand up, jumped up, pressed the opponent's abdomen with one hand, and forcibly pulled out the translucent soul. Human World. 5.0, Bing done. 1000 Bingshong kills. Upon seeing this, Bai Ji and quickly. Numerous fingertip-sized crushed ice condensed around the body, like a rainstorm pear blossom, and attacked Nagato's back. However, a translucent gas mask emerged from Nagato's body, absorbing all the broken ice that had flown. Can he absorb ninjutsu without using his hands? Bai's eyes widened in astonishment. Conan gritted his teeth. Nagato's ability has been greatly strengthened. 5 tails is going to be robbed. Seeing that Kimimaro's soul was about to be drawn out by Nagato, all the coalition troops shouted anxiously. Whoosh! Something flew towards Nagato suddenly, the moment he turned his head. The dark gray Susanoo of the first form of skeleton descends. A hand knife cut off his right hand that grabbed Kimimaro. Chapter 178 Beyond Cage Level. You are not the only one, first more seeking subscription. That girl. As one of the witnesses of the Battle of Uchiha Ruins at that time, Black Zetsu was quite clear about how much Uchiha Spring was. Through the special perception of the operator, Uchiha Izumi used Susa Flying Thunder God to easily cut down the picture of Nagato and surprised him. Fight with Itachi before passing. Her pupil power should not be enough to turn on Susanoo again. However, Black Zetsu felt it right away, the new pupil power gushing from the eyes of Uchiha Spring. I think of Uchiha Itachi's body and Uchiha Sasuke, both of which were recovered by Yèyuè Guāng after that battle. After speculating in this way, it is not difficult to guess the reason. There was an accident, damn it, I almost got 5 tails first. Black Zetsu hates it, but now he must rush to Uchiha's lead as soon as possible. After all, Nagato is dead, and that guy is the key to whether Madara can be resurrected. Spring. Uchiha, who had not completely lost his will, turned his head and looked at Ten. He noticed the new eyes in the opponent's eye sockets for the first time. The eyes are one. With just a glance, Uchiha Itachi also guessed the original. It seems that a lot of things happened after his death. But that's fine, he was already a dead man, and Sasuke's ending could not be better for him. So be it. This is the strongest combat power of the Impure World Reincarnation Army? The landing Uchiha Spring looked towards Nagato and Uchiha Itachi. Bai took advantage of this opportunity and rushed to take Kimimaro away. It's beautiful, Quan, the power of those new eyes is really not covered. Terumi Mei squinted and looked towards Uchiha Spring with a smile. Nagato, which can use Rinnegan's abilities without restrictions, and Uchiha Itachi, which Mangekyo no longer has any side effects. Conan incited the angel wings behind to land next to Uchiha Spring, explaining Nagato's abilities to her. Now that Rinnegan's 6 abilities are integrated, the strength has surpassed the ordinary Cage level. He is not the only one who has surpassed Cage level. The eternal Mangekyo in the eyes of Uchiha Spring spins sharply, and the skeleton in the first form becomes the human form in the second form in just half a second. Advertisement in less than 2 seconds, he put on a huge armor and turned into the third form. It's an exaggerated pupil power. It seems that you can already use that power perfectly. The moment Uchiha Itachi's voice fell, his body uncontrollably ignited the orange-red chakra, and also used the third form Susanoo. Everyone retreat. This is not a battle you can participate in. Go and deal with White Zetsu and other Impure World reincarnations. Terumi Mei waved and ordered. Yes, allied ninjas headed by Konoha Xiaoqiang shouted in unison. Northern battlefield. Ha, ha. Kakashi and Might Guy gasped for breath. After exhausting all his energy, and then consuming a large amount of Mangekyo's pupil power, he opened the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates with one blow. Finally, their respective fathers, Hitaki Shumao and Might Dai, were successfully sealed. After this war is over, this eye must have reached its limit. Kakashi covered his left eye, preparing to pull down the forehead protector, saving a little bit of pupil power. Jiraiya also defeated the once powerful enemy Hanzo of the Salamander. Impure World reincarnation that Konoha's troops cannot defeat at present. Only Namikaze Minato is left, just when Kakashi put his hand on his forehead protector. The situation is very serious, but most people's physical strength is almost exhausted. The expressions of Kakashi and others changed suddenly and turned to look. A new mask and costume have been put on. The eyes of the mask reveal Sharingan and a Uchiha Madara by Rinnegan. He was leading the 4 Jinchuriki who was successfully captured but apparently dead. Officially arrived on the battlefield, Madara. Kakashi drew out the other party's name in a deep voice. At least the name, he thought. You were at that time. Feeling the breath coming from the opponent, Namikaze Minato's expression changed in shock, unable to control his body. Instantly recalled the night when he died. The masked man who used weird space-time ninjutsu but ultimately lost to his own hands. At that time he called himself Uchiha Madara, Humph. Advertisement I saw past classmates and teachers who were called out. There were also some fluctuations in the heart of the country, but he immediately calmed down, fixed his gaze on Naruto, and said coldly. 9 tails, I will accept it. A delusion. Jiraiya took the lead in doing it. The big ball Rasengan, which is about the size of a basketball, smashed it with his head and face. Teacher, he knows time and space ninjutsu, Namikaze Minato faintly reminded. However, immediately, his body did not listen to his orders, and used Flying Thunder God again to launch a new round of attacks on his son. Not surprisingly, Jiraiya's big ball Rasengan passed through Uchiha Obito's body as if hitting the air. The Yagura soul, who was dead next to him, was in the Impure World reincarnation form, suddenly pulled out the iron rod behind him, and patted Jiraiya's forehead. 287. Day Tiger. Might Guy hurriedly shot, and the surge of physical skills formed a roaring tiger. Instantly knocked the citrus Yagura into the air. Master Jiraiya, be careful. Kakashi and Might Guy rushed with their tired bodies. Ha ha ha, sorry. Jiraiya also knew that he had acted too recklessly just now, so he touched his forehead and apologized again and again. You who are exhausted, still want to beat the pupil power of Sharingan and Rinnegan that I have? Uchiha Obito's eyes faint slightly behind the mask. When the voice fell, the 4-tailed beasts next to him collectively entered into a semi-tailed state. Become a small, bloody tail beast. The exhausted Jiraiya, Kakashi and others saw this scene. Cannot help but step back half ashamed. This is really bad. Cloud Shinobi Village, the headquarters of the coalition forces. An Impure World reincarnation who was tightly wrapped in bandages and looked like a mummy, was sent to Yèyuè Guāng by the sealing team led by Temari of the Yekang army. Open. Yèyuè Guāng said calmly. The seal scroll was opened, revealing the Impure World reincarnation inside. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sarutobi Asuma, Chapter 179. You were just a white mouse, second more seeking subscription. Yèyuè Guāng, what do you want to do? The first thing Sarutobi Asuma, who was unsealed, did was grin at Yèyuè. Really, there are still so many words after all. With Yèyuè Guāng's finger, the shining thunder needle pierced Asuma's limbs and pinned him to the ground. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Sarutobi Asuma, father and son, were also called out. And they encountered Yekang troops who were preparing to go north to reinforce Naruto and the others. The result can be imagined. The Sarutobi family can play politics, but they can't play war. After Yèyuè Guāng learned of this, he didn't bother to care about the superb father and son, and let the sealing team watch them. But Hinata came up with an idea. Yèyuè Guāng also found it interesting after listening, so he asked Temari to lead the sealing team to get the father and son over. And now, there is another Impure World reincarnation expert on the scene. Orochimaru. He didn't intend to participate in this war, and waited quietly for him who was watching the third party in the seat of Ryuchi Cave. When I learned of Yèyuè Guāng's experimental idea, and the experimental target was his beloved teacher Sarutobi. Orochimaru couldn't help itching his hands. Yèyuè Guāng, Orochimaru, are you going to endanger the shinobi again? Seeing that his son was bound, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not pass too much anger. Anyway, their father and son are now dead. Sir, after you died, the ninja world was stabilized a lot under the leadership of Yèyuè-kun. In other words, he is scolding Sarutobi Hiruzen. You are the one who endangers the world of ninja. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a hum and stopped answering. I just don't know if I disdain to refute, or I can't find a reason to refute. Okay, let's start, Hinata. Yèyuè Guāng kicked the dirty soil Asuma nailed to the ground with his feet, half-empty eyes and said. Look at what will happen, I just imagined, I don't know if it will succeed. Advertisement Hinata walked up hesitantly, for fear that his idea would fail. When I saw Hinata's seal, Orochimaru, who had participated in the attack on Mount Myoboku, looked slightly stagnant. This Jian is the Pure Land rebirth that Toad Sage Toad Maru tried to use to revive Sage of Six Paths. However, the rebirth of the Pure Land not only requires the life of the operator, but also requires the preservation of the body of the deceased to complete it. Yèyuè Hinata does not have these two conditions, and it is even more impossible for her to resurrect these two naive father and son. But immediately, Orochimaru realized the problem. The last seal made by Hinata is different from the original Toad Sage. Untie. Hinata's little hand seemed to use the summoning technique, and suddenly patted the dirty soil Asuma's back. Dirty soil Asuma's whole body, a faint white light surge. The translucent soul began to leave this body constructed from raw dust. With the separation of the surface dust, the clone of White Zetsu, which was used as a resurrection sacrifice, also returned to its original state. The White Zetsu avatar looked at Asuma's soul who had escaped from his body with incredible eyes before dying. How is it possible? What is this move? It can dispel impure world reincarnation. Pure Land Rebirth was originally a technique for summoning souls from the underworld to reincarnation, but if you use them the other way around, you can forcibly send the soul back to the underworld. Under the unbelievable gazes of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Nara Shiruzen, Yamanaka Hai and others, Yèyuè Guāng smiled and said, "This is the impure world reincarnation used by the old fox Otsutsuki Hagoromo, the true face of the solution." In the original book, the humanoid self-propelled hanger of Sage of Six Paths lifted impure world reincarnation with a wave of his hand. "Why don't you beat your mother when you are so awesome?" And his trick impure world reincarnation, the true face of the solution, is pure land reincarnation, or the opposite usage of pure land summoning. Forcibly recall the soul to the underworld, and Hinata, who owns Tensigen and has seen Toad Pill reincarnation once using pure land, can also do it. It's just that it's not like hanging on the wall Otsutsuki Hagoromo, to remove all impure world reincarnation in the ninja world at one time. How is it possible? This method can be used to disarm impure world reincarnation. Advertisement Black Zetsu, who was about to merge with Uchiha Obito, noticed the changes in Asuma's body. In shock, there was a fierce look in his eyes. Yèyuè Hinata has a little devil with the same eyes as Hamura. Her troubles are far greater than imagined. Orochimaru, it's your turn. The moment Asuma's soul escaped from the body of the White Zetsu clone, which was the sacrifice of impure world reincarnation, Yèyuè Guāng said again. "Hey, I can't wait long ago." Orochimaru quickly formed seals, overlapping his hands on the ground. Numerous tadpole black rune prints appeared on the ground, covering the body of White Zetsu, who was not yet dead in the future, and Asuma, who was about to return to the underworld. Ninja impure world reincarnation, Orochimaru drank excitedly. The soul of Asuma, who had just left, was squeezed into the body of the White Zetsu avatar again. And the White Zetsu avatar, in just a few seconds, turned back to the dirty Asuma. Dirt third generation looked stunned. It felt like this group of people was throwing the souls of their own sons as toys. Bang bang bang, Orochimaru clapped his hands excitedly and exclaimed. "That's it, that's how it is, I understand. First let Hinata use the reverse usage of pure land reincarnation to pull out the souls of impure world reincarnations, which is equivalent to cancelling their contract with Black Zetsu, and then I will use them again before the soul fails to go to the underworld. Impure world reincarnation, stuff the soul back, so that I will become a new contractor who has reincarnated from the impure world." Speaking of this, Orochimaru smiled even more. In other words, with this method, we can turn the impure world reincarnation summoned by the enemy into our fighting power forever. Do you want to use our father and son to fight? At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen could no longer remain silent, and tightened his eyebrows and shouted angrily. Neither Yèyuè Guāng nor Orochimaru forbidden to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen with, "You tease me." Orochimaru laughed and said, "Ms. Sarutobi, the fourth ninja wars now is at your level. To be honest, there is really nothing you can do. Yèyuè Guāng, you are a guinea pig at best, and I am afraid of embarrassment to let you go to the battlefield." In the original book, Orochimaru summoned a fourth Hokage Foulman. Sarutobi Hiruzen has the least sense of existence. By the way, did he do anything meaningful after he was called out on the battlefield? Chapter 180 The Otsutsuki clan is just like Leek's third more seeking subscription. Untie. When Yèyuè Guāng finished speaking, Hinata's tender little hand slapped it again. Make Asuma's soul ascend to heaven for the second time. Asuma in the form of soul stared in astonishment. After pulling it out, plug it back in, and then pull it out again. What do you think of as lousy hemorrhoids plasters? Whether it is Black Zetsu or my impure world reincarnation, can it be cancelled immediately? The blood of science in Orochimaru's body was boiling. Only in the face of the weak, can you send your soul into the pure land world in one breath like this. If you are a very strong impure world reincarnation, you need to attack their bodies to the extent that they cannot be fixed for the time being like a seal. Hinata explained it as concisely as possible. Simply put, it is a weakness like Asuma. She can directly solve their impure world reincarnation with a wave of hands. But if the target is a level like Senju Tobirama, Third Raikage, or even Uchiha Madara, they must destroy their bodies first. Asuma in the form of soul is half dead. Oh no, he is already dead. Co-authored 290, Self is the weak. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Shi Rihong is not married now, which is the last comfort for you, but she can't marry you anybody. Raising his head to warn the soul of Asuma who is gradually returning to the underworld, Yèyuè Guāng smirked. Asuma's soul had a clean face. However, Yèyuè Guāng's bomber shattered his soul with a thunderbolt and dissipated. Master Everbright, the latest situation. Miss Uchiha Izumi has defeated Uchiha Itachi and Nagato of Impure World Reincarnation. But the masked man and the four tail beasts have completely suppressed the troops led by Lord Jiraiya. If this continues, 9 tails may be taken away. Suddenly, Yamanaka High-Ishin reported in a hurry. Please advise, Hinata, send this, strong Naruto, on the road, and then go to the battlefield with me. Yèyuè Guāng first gave instructions to Hinata, and then gave an order to Yamanaka. Tell all the personnel of the coalition that all the troops that have ended the battle will go to the northern battlefield, which is the final battlefield that will determine the future of this world. Yes. Yamanaka Keiichi, Naruluju and others responded in unison. Baffa. As for Yèyuè Hinata, he is going to send Sarutobi Hiruzen on the road. They don't care about this. Advertisement: the current Hokage, the living Hokage, is Yèyuè Hinata. This is their Hokage-sama. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the dead Naruto, how does it matter to them? Well, Mr. Sarutobi, don't stay here either. With your strength, no matter which side you join, you can't do anything. Orochimaru never gave up the opportunity to mock his teacher. Alas, it feels like Orochimaru hates his teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen was full of unwillingness, and at the same time, because of Nara Shikahisa, Yamanaka Hirui and other Konoha shinobi, he was indignant at his situation. When I was alive, my attitude was so low: if you die, you will all change faces. Fortunately, he didn't say this. Otherwise, Yèyuè Guāng, Orochimaru and others are absolutely sick and want to vomit. Dammit has seen a double standard and never seen such a double standard. But no matter what, Sarutobi Hiruzen can only sit back and watch Hinata pat his back. Forcibly driving himself out of this body, the soul rolled back to the underworld. Just when Hinata slapped the shot, puff, puff. The last moment Hinata's palm is less than 3 centimeters from Sarutobi Hiruzen's back. A crimson light and shadow fell onto the roof of the headquarters. The moment before it was about to swallow the people below. Yèyuè Guāng raised his right hand with his palm facing up. The violent electric current formed a wall to resist the red energy. After a stalemate for about 2 seconds, a strong aftermath of the explosion covered the entire Cloud Shinobi Village. If civilians are not moved out of refuge in advance, the loss is unimaginable. A horrible energy stream swept away, and the surrounding Tamari and Naradir were waiting for a long time without cage-level ninjas to fly upside down and hit the wall. Orochimaru and the others, who were still standing still at the cage level and above, looked up. 3 pale figures floated quietly in the night sky. Shueibai's facial features without a trace of blood are also full of shock. Obviously, they didn't expect that inferior earthlings would be able to block the move just now. A-hole. Who blocked it just now? Otsutsuki Urashiki roared furiously. As a member of the Otsutsuki clan, the attack was actually blocked by the earthlings. Advertisement, and it's still in front of Daoshi and Jinshi. Where does this put his face? It is the same as the Otsutsuki man and the Otsutsuki man on the moon. They also belong to the Naruto Celestial Dragons, who despise the earth. The person who came was the Otsutsuki trio. Otsutsuki Peach style, Otsutsuki Gold style, Otsutsuki Ura style. All the time, as a member of Otsutsuki who supports the destruction of the earth. Every few years, they will discuss plans to destroy the earth with the Otsutsuki people on the moon, represented by the Otsutsuki and his sons. However, this year, I have not received any contact from the manager of Otsutsuki. So the 3 went to the moon first. I was shocked to find that all the Otsutsuki people who lived on the moon and were descended from Otsutsuki Hamura were all dead. Moreover, all the precious records of the Otsutsuki family were looted. The trio realized that something was definitely wrong. So I decided to go to the earth to investigate. By coincidence, it happened to come to Cloud Shinobi Village, the headquarters of the Ninja United Army. After spotting Yèyuè Guāng and his party, Otsutsuki Urashiki, who has the mentality of stomping ants on the roadside with his feet, waved his hand and used the Tensua meteor to prepare to destroy the village. But I never imagined that there are people on Earth who can resist their own moves. Feeling lost, Otsutsuki Urashiki vowed to kill that guy to restore his dignity. The Otsutsuki clan. Hinata looked startled, although it is not unpredictable that the headquarters may be stolen by the enemy. But never expected that the raiders were actually members of the Otsutsuki family. Shout, the troublemaker. Killed them all. Yèyuè Guāng looked at the 3 Hokage celestial dragons above with a look of disgust, and ordered again. Everyone, go to the main battlefield. Yèyuè-san, how about you? Hinata worried. Kill these 3 crickets, and I will join you. Yèyuè Guāng twisted his wrist twice, and said coldly. If this clan is not completely killed, they will be like leaks, one after another. Chapter 181 Yèyuè Guāng's strongest combat power, first more seeking subscription. Yèyuè-san, please be careful. After Yèyuè Guāng gave the order, Hinata was worried about leaving behind a request. Leading the headquarters of Nara Shikuhisa, Yamanaka Hiei and others rushed to the main battlefield in the north. Now that Uchiha Obito has appeared, it means that the war has entered the final stage. Although gathering all the tail beasts Jinchuriki together is a bit risky. However, Yèyuè Guāng never thought of fighting against Black Zetsu and Uchiha Madara in a protracted battle. Complete its work in one battle. In the shortest time, let's decide the winner. The one just now is Yin Yang escape. Recalling the Otsutsuki Poo style moves just now, Yèyuè Guāng's eyes are half empty. It claims to be able to swallow any ninjutsu and create the yin and yang escape of all things in the world. However, the yin and yang of the Otsutsuki Ura-style waist is far less powerful than the Otsutsuki Kagaya mother and child. Don't want to escape. Looking at Hinata and others away, Otsutsuki Urashiki once again showed an angry expression. With a grasp of the right hand, a weapon similar to a fishing rod is condensed with yin and yang to escape. A large amount of red shockwaves are released under the swing. Tensu Wave Meteor Fate. Dirt third generation was caught off guard, and only felt that the nape of his fate was pulled by someone and thrown out like a baseball. Yèyuè Guāng. You won, Sarutobi Hiruzen roared, but before he could finish speaking, the whole person was blocked by the red light shockwave that flew toward Hinata and the others as a shield. The intense smoke and violent shockwaves from the explosion roared out. A few seconds later, a head fell from the center of the gunpowder smoke. Puff. Sarutobi Hiruzen, with only his head left, lay under a telephone pole after tumbling a few times in the streets of Cloud Shinobi Village. A few seconds later, there is still no trend of recovery. Obviously, this is yin and yang escape. Do the guys of the Otsutsuki clan have this ability? In less than 2 seconds before and after, Yèyuè Guāng looked back from Sarutobi Hiruzen's man. The body floats in front of the Otsutsuki trio. A hole, dare to stop me. Otsutsuki Poo-style gritted teeth. Yèyuè Guāng withdrew slightly, sneered and sneered. It's really hard for you to travel all the way to the earth and take the initiative to die. What? 3D turret impacts far beyond cage level burst out like a tsunami from the trio. Orochimaru, Nara, who had already run far away, showed fear for a long time. Forget it for one person, do all three of them have such terrifying power? Advertisement, Eduozen will not lose. Hinata, who rushed to the forefront, suddenly spoke, pulling everyone's attention back, as if injecting a booster into everyone's heart, he said. All we have to do is defeat the enemy on the other side. The moment Hinata finished saying this, in Yèyuè Guāng, a deterrent aura that seemed to penetrate the dark night of the sky broke out, and he rushed back toward the 3 waves of deterrents on the opposite side. The 4 invisible airwaves of 1vs3 impacted together, sending out a shocking sound that smashed the eardrums. Orochimaru, Naraluju and others only felt that there were a few wild beasts facing each other behind them. He didn't even dare to look back, for fear that he would be torn apart as soon as he turned his head. In the next instant, Yèyuè Guāng's pupils suddenly shrank. The output of the shockwave overflowing from the body raised another level in one breath. The size of this invisible beast seemed to have expanded tenfold in an instant, swallowing up the opponent's deterrent wave. Master Naruto is right, Master Yi won't lose. As a perceptual ninja Yamanaka Keiichi said this, his entire face was soaked in cold sweat. This kind of existence was born among the people on Earth. At this time, Otsutsuki Urashiki couldn't maintain his high-pitched attitude. And at the moment when his words fell, I only felt that the vision in front of me flickered, and a palm of my hand flashed in front of my eyes. Peelala, it was like the sound of countless birds crowing echoing in his ears, and the thunder light erupting from the palm of his hand was getting closer and closer. Billion volts. It was the last moment Yèyuè Guāng was about to make a move. The Otsutsuki gold style at the back suddenly opened his hands and used yin and yang to make a giant axe. Look at Yèyuè Guāng at a speed higher than cage level. Yèyuè Guāng's eyes were slightly mimicked, Thunder Giant. Boom. Less than half a second before and after, the entire Cloud Shinobi Village vibrated violently. The iron sand hidden in the ground, the dust in the air, plus the thunder light bursting out of Yèyuè Guāng's palm. The 3 are combined in one. The Thunder Giant, who is more than 100 meters tall, suddenly rises in less than a second. -0 seeking flowers. 0 like a mosquito, grab a slap and go to the Otsutsuki gold fan. The focus of Otsutsuki Jinshi's eyes turned. At the moment of turning around, he quickly resisted the falling iron sand palm with the axe in his hand. Billion volts are truly thunder. Yèyuè Guāng gave a grin. Advertisement: the thunder that suddenly descended from above the clouds was about to smash the golden head of Otsutsuki. Universal pull. The third person's Otsutsuki peach style finally shot and sucked the Otsutsuki gold style to his side at the very moment. Boom. The falling thunder that hit the sky smashed most of the mountains around Cloud Shinobi Village. I'm very sorry, Lord Momoshiki. Otsutsuki bowed in golden style and apologized. Humph. Waste. 0 Rinnegan with the right hand of the Otsutsuki peach style absorbs the giant axe made by the yin and yang style with the big simple wooden gold style. In the next moment, his left hand stretched forward. The other Rinnegan in his palm released a violent yin and yang retreat red light impact. Compared with the Otsutsuki Urashi style third-rate yin yang escape, the power is not much stronger. The thunder giant behind Yèyuè Guāng crossed his hands as a shield to resist in front of Yèyuè Guāng. Boom! Under the shockwave of yin and yang escape, the hands of the thunder giant continued to fall off like glass slag. After a stalemate for about 2 seconds, the thunder giant finally couldn't hold on. Both hands were smashed. The yin and yang escape shockwave, which was mostly offset, continued to attack Yèyuè Guāng. Huh, Yèyuè Guāng sneered coldly. The aura on his body changed drastically. It is as if the holy light from another dimension is shining. Shangbai's thunderlight is like a self-conscious creature, coiling around Yèyuè Guāng's body. The twin pupils' shining blue light are like an evolutionary version of Tenseigan. LV6 form. Even though the Otsutsuki clan are the celestial dragons of Naruto, the three people on the opposite side are among the best. But seeing this scene can't help but be dumbfounded. What's this? Only for a moment. Yèyuè Guāng once again flashed in front of Otsutsuki Urashiki. This time, whether it is Otsutsuki Gold style or Otsutsuki Peach style, there is no time for any action. 2 billion volts God thunders wrath. Boom. End. Chapter 182 The strongest reinforcements, second more seeking subscription. The entire Cloud Shinobi Village, in the vent of Thunder's rage, the night turned into day. As if conveying the will of God. The people who resisted this force must be wiped out. After a full 10 seconds, boom, Sarutobi Hiruzen, with only a head left by the telephone pole, looked up and saw that the head of one of the weird trio fell in front of him. Otsutsuki Urashi-style head. The part below his neck has completely disappeared. Before he died, his eyes widened, as if yelling, "Why?" And Black Zetsu, who saw this scene through the sight of Impure World reincarnation Sarutobi Hiruzen, squeezed his fists. Damn, Yèyuè Guāng has managed to reach such a realm. The mother must be resurrected to be able to complete the plan completely. However, what makes Black Zetsu anxious is far more than Yèyuè Guāng. 290. The main battlefield in the north. Four Jinchuriki led by Uchiha Obito, plus Namikaze Minato in Impure World reincarnation form. Jiraiya, Naruto, Kakashi, and Might Guy, the first unit of the combined army, were beaten steadily and retreated. Damn it. It takes too much effort. Might Guy, who defeated his father 8th Gate and forcibly opened 7th Gate before, forcibly resisted the side effects that came from his body, and said with hatred, "In that case, I will open the 8th Gate, don't be impulsive, Guy." Kakashi hurriedly discouraged and shouted, "Didn't Mr. Hyūga just say that? Reinforcements are coming soon. What we have to do now is to delay time. I will catch 9 tails before those guys come." Uchiha Obito made the seal with one hand and was about to control the 4 Jinchuriki under him to besiege Naruto. "I have something to ask you." However, at this moment, Kakashi panted roughly and raised his fingers, and moved towards the masked male finger, his face with an unprecedented solemn expression, and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" As soon as this was said, everyone else in the Ninja Alliance army around him looked at Kakashi with strange eyes. Ta Rihong frowned willow eyebrows and said, "Kakashi, what are you talking about? Isn't he Uchiha Madara? Akashi is behind the scenes." Advertisement? No. What I really want to ask is the origin of his Sharingan. Sharingan with the right eye of the masked man in Kakashi's eyes, explained briefly. In the confrontation just now, I found that the teacher's kunai I absorbed with Kamui would actually appear next to him. This is a very strange thing. Halfway through the conversation, Kakashi's tone became heavier and continued. There is only one explanation, and that is my Kamui space, and his space-time ninjutsu is the same space. Uchiha Obito's body trembled slightly. The expressions of the rest of the Ninja Alliance army changed suddenly. Anyone who has a bit of a brain realizes that there is a big problem. Not to mention that he hasn't completely lost his self-awareness. He was originally the Namikaze Minato, a master of space-time ninjutsu. He looked at each other with incredible eyes. Obviously, he had guessed something. Are all space-time ninjutsu spaces connected together? Jiraiya in the form of Sage Mode cried out in shock. No, I'm afraid that only the space between me and him is connected. That is to say, the space-time ninjutsu used by me and him is the same kind. Kakashi stretched out the index finger of his right hand. The space-time ninjutsu you use, it is Kamui. Who are you? To shut up. The moment Kakashi asked this sentence, the masked man seemed to be broken for some reason. No longer able to maintain the calm attitude of the previous big boss, in turn, he raised his hand and stretched out his finger, and pointed at Kakashi angrily. You're just a trash who can only give up half-heartedly and just play around. What can you do if you see through it? Then just let you see the real power of Kamui. Seeing such a clean and hideous appearance of the masked man, Namikaze Minato had already guessed his true identity 70% in his heart. However, the perspiration that kept flowing from the side of his face exposed his true feelings in the side. He didn't want to believe his inner conjecture, and in the next second when the masked man acted, his body once again uncontrollably launched Flying Thunder God, rushing to his teacher Jiraiya. Control the 4 tail beasts, plus Namikaze Minato to help out. It couldn't be easier for Uchiha Obito to clean up these exhausted guys. Kakashi's pupils are almost exhausted, and Might Guy, who has not opened the 8th gate, is not threatening. The Impure World reincarnation form of 3 tails Jinchuriki made orange Yagura and 6 tails Jinchuriki bubbles at the same time. Not good. Naruto, be careful. Kakashi, who was knocked into the air, saw the masked man activate Kamui and moved to Naruto. When I was about to pull out the 9 tails from Naruto with the palm of my hand with human power, I couldn't help but yell. Run away. Advertisement, I will accept 9 tails. Uchiha Obito said coldly. On the other side, Namikaze Minato, who turned into a golden flash, was about to pierce Jiraiya's throat with the Flying Thunder God in his hand. The 2 masters and apprentices are facing death threats. What, at this moment, 2 flashes of purple and white fell from the sky. The purple light and shadow cut off the mask on the man's face with a handful of kunai. Pure white light and shadow hit Namikaze Minato's heart with a heavy punch. Boom. The two who were about to take the lives of Naruto and Jiraiya in the last microsecond were beaten out. Everyone looked at the two figures that looked like meteors. They are two beautiful girls who are in their prime. But no one dares to underestimate them because of their age. Because of the opponent, they are the two people designated by the commander-in-chief of the joint army Yèyuè Guāng as the highest combat power. Fifth Hokage, Hyuga Hinata, the last descendant of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Spring. Naruto looked at the back figure blocking her in surprise, and shouted. Sister Quan, fortunately, I arrived. Uchiha Izumi smiled back to Naruto, 5.0. Jiraiya exhaled with a look of shock and uncertainty. Ha almost thought he was going to die in the hands of his disciples. Mr. Jiraiya, your chakra is exhausted, please go to the back and rest. Hinata said with a soft voice. It's really the front wave that was shot to death on the beach. Jiraiya, who could see the gap between these two girls and her own earth and heaven at a glance, couldn't help but sigh inwardly and backed silently. Reinforcements are here. Haha, God open your eyes. The highest combat power has finally joined the battle. Just when everyone in the first unit cheered for the arrival of Hinata and Uchiha, who were designated by Yèyuè Guāng as the highest combat power. The voice that shocked Kakashi for 20 years sounded. Are you Obito? Chapter 183 went to with a broken mentality, third more seeking subscription? Kakashi's voice seemed to be seeing the end of the world, turning everyone's attention from Hinata and Uchiha Izumi back to him. Look forward along Kakashi's present. The mask that Uchiha Madara originally wore on the face had been split in half by the flying thunder god kunai of Uchiha Spring and dropped on both sides of the feet. The real mask has appeared. Others may be unfamiliar. But his classmates Hitaki Kakashi, Might Guy, Yuri Hong, and Namikaze Minato, who was hit by Hinata just now, has now stood up again. Seeing that the right half of the face has obvious bruises, but it can still be distinguished at a glance. The man in front of me is their classmate, disciple, Uchiha Obito. Might Guy's eyes stared like copper bells. He is indeed Uchiha's leader, right? Because the facts were too horrifying, Might Guy added, let's, at the end. Ta Rihong's expression was similar. Dan Hong's eyes were wide open, but he was not as early as 18 years ago. Namikaze Minato looked bitter. It was you, Obito, Ten said so, and it was also the one who killed Kushina that night. Here, what happened? Obito, you, why? Kakashi, who has regarded Uchiha Obito as a close friend and role model for 18 years, only feels that his beliefs have completely collapsed. Slow Lori. You're a waste of words. The mask peeled off, as if shattered the last East bond in Uchiha Obito's heart, and could no longer maintain the calmness he had before. It was as if the black history was picked up, and it seemed to be runaway out of control and roared. As long as the Eye of the Moon plan can be realized, it doesn't matter what happens. The instant Uchiha Obito's true face was revealed, the seal was quickly sealed. Fire-style storm dance. The moment the flame was released from the mouth, the space was distorted by Kamui with the right eye, increasing the power of fire-style to its limit. Roar. The roar sounded like a ghost. The dark gray second form Susanoo cut the flames with a sword. Uchiha Obito could tell at a glance that Mangekyo in Uchiha Izumi's pupils was completely different from when he played against Uchiha Itachi before. You still have to materialize your body when you are arresting people, right? The eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Spring's twin pupils spins sharply. In the second form, Susanoo grew his feet quickly, and Uchiha Spring, located in the center, threw several trigeminal kunai of the same style as Namikaze Minato at Uchiha Obito. As expected, those kunai passed through Uchiha Obito's body as if hitting the air. Flying Thunder God, do you think I will eat it a second time? Uchiha Obito gave a cold snort and controlled 4 Jinchuriki. Advertisement 4 chakras, majestic like the sea, rushed out and collectively entered the full body form. Uchiha Obito uses Kamui to transfer himself to the head of 7 tails in midair. Corner. Flying towards the sky, 7 tails, like a beetle, swooped down like a cannonball. Uchiha controlled Susanoo to raise the bowstring of his left hand, and set the bow with his right hand, preparing to shoot the opponent from midair. In the next moment after the shooting, the Uchiha leader immediately absorbed it with Kamui and shouted wildly. I said it's useless, don't do useless work. Uchiha Spring controlled Susanoo to jump up, relying on Mangekyo's pupil power to avoid the attack from 7 tails at the very last moment. Rinnegan with Uchiha Obito's left eye glanced at the dodge Uchiha Spring, and said inwardly. Pursuing. But in an instant, Uchiha Obito noticed that Chakra's Naruto was being repaired on the ground. I changed my mind in an instant and thought, no, the first goal is to capture the tail beast and resurrect 10 tails. Although his inner thoughts are like this, Uchiha Obito also knows that if he catches people himself, the risk is too great. So simply use his pupil power to control 4 tails to catch Naruto. Mr. Kakashi, it's time to do it. The dodging Uchiha Spring suddenly opened his mouth, and the horn also curled up with an arc of conspiracy. Kakashi, who had recovered a little of his pupil power, heard Uchiha Izumi's words and instantly understood what the other party meant. The original 3-Goad Yushin mask on the left eye turned into a 3-backed Mangekyo. Kamui. In the Kamui space hole created by Kakashi, the arrow of Susa that had just been absorbed by Uchiha Obito flew out. Unprepared, he almost shot past Uchiha Obito. Even with Kamui, a bug skill, it takes time to activate. Not to mention that Susanoo's arrow was originally a very fast technique. Caught off guard. Uchiha Obito didn't even have time to dodge, so he could only dodge sideways. The arm of his right hand was shot directly, and it fell on top of Seven Tails' head. These guys have completely figured out the principle of my Kamui. Advertisement, hey, what's the situation now? At this time, Hinata led Nara Shikahisa, Yamanaka Hayi and others bend Hinata one step at a time. After seeing Uchiha Obito at war with Uchiha Izumi, that face was full of sight. Let them collectively stun the older generation. It seems that the face hidden behind the mask is not Uchiha Madara. Orochimaru sneered again and again. Obviously, he also recognized the true identity of the other party. I really didn't expect that the Crane 290-tail kid in the past has now grown into a monster that disrupts the world of shinobi. Hell stab Urban Kano. The other side, under the continuous attack of Hinata lightning-style chakra mode. The former, Golden Glitter, Namikaze Minato showed a trend of losing streak. So strong, 5th generation master. I can actually suppress that Golden Glitter like this. The ninjas of Konoha and Cloud Shinobi exclaimed. They couldn't think of it. A few minutes ago, they beat them like a dog Namikaze Minato, and in front of Hinata, they were completely at a disadvantage. Little girl, your speed is even higher than Third Raikage. Namikaze Minato praised from the bottom of his heart, and gritted his teeth in the next second. Be careful, I'm going to make a move. Namikaze Minato threw out 6 trigeminal kunai in one breath, making a seal with both hands. Shadow Clone Shuriken Technique. The 6 flying Thunder God kunai turned into hundreds in an instant, like a heavy rain falling. And Namikaze Minato completely turned into light, shuttled between these sufferings. So fast, I don't even know where he will appear from. Hinata looked up, and the binocular Baikugan suddenly evolved to Tensigen. Face up with the palm of your right hand, Shen Kong Strike. Chapter 184 Black Zetsu's Double Aces, first more seeking subscription. The moment Hinata waved his palm, the blue and white chakra airflow rising from the entire arm turns into a giant arm comparable to Susanoo. It's like a giant punch. No matter how fast your Shadow Clone Flying Thunder God is. I'll just hit all the places you can run. Just like a giant blow, Namikaze Minato in the form of Golden Glitter was directly hit high in the sky. Half of the whole person's body is turned into dust like confetti. Pretty, is this also the gentle fist of the Hyuga family? Namikaze Minato, with only half of his body left, said in disbelief and amazed. Universal pull. Not waiting for Namikaze Minato's remains to fly out completely. Hinata launched the second move and attracted the remnant body. Master Naruto. Do you want to seal it? Tenten, who was a member of the seal class, asked quickly. Do not. Just as Namikaze Minato's body was repaired by dust, Hinata quickly formed seals, with the palm of his right hand on Namikaze Minato's back. Impure World Reincarnation Solution. Under the incredible gaze of everyone around, Namikaze Minato's unrepaired body glowed with dazzling white light. The soul leaves the body in a visible form. What is that Jia Yin? He can actually disarm Impure World Reincarnation. Runtu, who had a broken arm above Seven Tails' head, screamed in astonishment. Senior Orochimaru. The moment Namikaze Minato's soul came out, Hinata shouted loudly. Orochimaru's hands quickly formed seals, and said with a smile. No way, I'll do a favor. At the moment when Jia Yin was completed, Orochimaru pressed his hands on the ground, Ninfa Impure World Reincarnation. It seems to be what Sarutobi Asuma did to Sarutobi Asuma in Cloud Shinobi Village before repeating it. Namikaze Minato's soul, which had just left the body, was covered by countless spells cast by Orochimaru. He was stuffed back into the body abruptly. Re-enter the Impure World Reincarnation form. What's going on? Naruto was completely stunned. It's amazing, there is actually this way to release Impure World Reincarnation. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato squeezed his hands with a look of surprise. And just now 5th Hokage's Jian, I have never seen it before. Dad. Naruto shouted. Don't worry, I've got rid of the bondage of the enemy. Namikaze Minato turned to look at his son and responded with a big smile. Uchiha Obito, right? Did you forget that you are still fighting? Just when Uchiha Obito stepped on top of Seven Tails and was shocked by the situation of Namikaze Minato. Uchiha Obito took a hard look. The dark gray Susanoo appeared in the midair to his left like a ghost. He remembered, Uchiha Spring's Mangekyo ability is the ability to control a target like a dynamic force. Coupled with Flying Thunder God, the mobility is still higher than that of his teacher Namikaze Minato. Uchiha Obito quickly mobilized Kamui to prepare to evade. However, the second form Susanoo immediately changed to the third form in midair, and the great sword fell. Although he passed through Uchiha Obito's body, he smashed the Seven Tails under him and fell to the ground. Boom! As Seven Tails landed, the surrounding ground vibrated violently. A small mushroom cloud rose up, and Uchiha Obito, who lost his foothold, also fell at the same time. Namikaze Minato stared at the falling disciple, turned his head and threw a handful of three-pointed kunai at his other disciple while shouting. Kakashi! Cover me! With just a look, Kakashi understood what the teacher meant. Use Kamui to your teacher immediately. Namikaze Minato, who was sent into the twisted space, enters another world. I immediately saw Uchiha Obito hiding in the belly of a different space. Rasengan. At the moment, I can't care about the feelings of mentoring an apprenticeship. Namikaze Minato shot Rasengan directly, cough. Uchiha Obito from the outside world spouted a mouthful of blood from his throat. Quickly retract the body that was transferred into the Kamui space. And the trident in Kakashi's hand flashed with no golden light. Advertisement Namikaze Minato also returned from the Kamui space through Flying Thunder God. Seeing Uchiha Obito's mouth full of blood, he fell to the ground in embarrassment and took a deep breath. Sure enough, as I thought, Kakashi's Kamui space and Obito are connected, and this method can be used to attack him. The victory is divided. Kill him quickly. At this time, Yèyuè Guāng led Sand Shinobi's troops to arrive and happened to witness this scene. Suddenly it was discovered that both Xiaomi's, Yèyuè Guāng, had arrived, but he was nowhere to be seen, frowning. Before Yèyuè Guāng asked, Hinata had seen her doubts and actively explained. Eduozen is fighting other enemies. Other enemies? Not only Yèyuè Guāng, but other people in the Ninja Alliance army couldn't help but wonder. Are there any enemies that can delay Yèyuè Guāng's time? No matter, kill Madara. Yèyuè Guāng didn't care about worrying about his husband now, waved and shouted. Just kill that guy and everything is over. Let me come, as his former best friend, I am curious what happened to Obito. 1. Kakashi offered to ask Ying. Upon seeing this, Yèyuè Guāng and others did not refute his face, and took the initiative to give way. Kakashi took out a handful of kunai and rushed towards Uchiha Obito who fell on the ground. Obito, who fell to the ground, was injured, but Namikaze Minato's Rasengan just now wouldn't make him incapacitated. He quickly got up from the ground, used, promise, Rinnegan's non-power to condense a black stick, and healed his face to prepare for the battle. Pu Shi is dead, but whether it is Yèyuè Guāng, Jin Shi or Dao Shi, coming over, it will cause a major obstacle to the mother's failure. Hidden deep underground, Black Zetsu can see the battlefields on both sides clearly. There is no time to waste. At this time, the trump card must be dispatched. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu didn't dare to hesitate anymore, and patted his hands on the ground. Summoning technique and pure world reincarnation. It was the last moment when Kakashi and Uchiha Obito were about to collide. Two coffins suddenly rose from the ground. What? Kakashi was taken aback and stopped subconsciously. Although Uchiha Obito already knows what it is, but in this case, it is unavoidable to be taken aback. Chapter 185. Now we must race against time, second more seeking subscription. After summoning two coffins in one breath, the hidden Black Zetsu muttered to himself in hatred. Although Yèyuè Hinata's abilities are very tricky, no matter which side of the Yèyuè Guāng or Otsutsuki duo wins, it is a great obstacle to the resurrection of the mother. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu printed again, gritted his teeth and said, I have to make a desperate move. The conditions for the resurrection of Kagaya are extremely harsh, and Black Zetsu himself has planned for thousands of years before finally waiting for this opportunity today. If you miss it, will you have to wait another few thousand years? Do not, maybe there is no next chance. I must bet all the treasures in this war. Determined, Black Zetsu pressed his hands to the ground again. Summoning technique, impure world reincarnation. On the battlefield, the third coffin rose from the ground not far from Yèyuè Guāng and Gaara's troops. When I saw the dead coming out of the coffin, Yèyuè Guāng, who had already faced off with the opponent once, Gaara and others didn't show much surprised expressions. But the look of fear on his face remained undiminished. Second Hokage Senju Tobirama, before 290, it was not easy to win with a conspiracy, and it was almost possible to seal him. Has it recovered? Gaara said solemnly, what a powerful chakra. Hinata, who had Tensigen open, looked between Kakashi and Uchiha Obito. Two coffins standing side by side. The moment everyone cast their gazes, the coffin lid burst open. Two figures appeared slowly. The two then wore ancient armor and built-in tight-fitting battlesuits. It can be judged that the two of them are of the same era. The long-haired hedgehog man on the left embraced Yu hung with his hands, and a pair of three-tomo Sharingan looked around the battlefield in his eye sockets. Advertisement. The first person to curse in a low voice was Uchiha Obito in the back. Obito, why should Rinnegan on Nagato be with you? When he noticed Uchiha Obito in the rear, Uchiha Madara couldn't help. Eyebrow. I looked at my body again, not the revolving heaven technique? It's completely different from the plan. Master Madara, Obito, this guy made his own claim and killed Nagato and snatched Rinnegan. A white Zetsu clone emerged from a crack in the ground and explained to Uchiha Madara. When the voice fell, the white Zetsu avatar took the initiative to cut off his right arm and handed it to Chiba Obito. Huh. I'm here to complete the Eyes of the Moon project. That fellow Nagato is already a waste. Uchiha Obito took white Zetsu's arm to his broken arm and said coldly. Is that Uchiha Madara? Also, is Senju Hashirama too? Onoki, who led Tsuchikage's troops, cried out in exclamation when he saw the figure walking out of the two coffins. At the same time, the Raikage troops and the Mizukage troops led by Terumi Mei have also arrived. Master Raikage, your injury is serious. Terumi Mei, who rushed over, noticed the missing little finger and ring finger of Fourth Raikage's left hand, and couldn't help but sigh. After all, my husband's cousin, let's give condolences. It was a cut by a stab attack. Even if you haven't seen it with your own eyes, you can guess that it was caused by Third Raikage's Hell Stab. Huh, I can defeat my father by sacrificing 2 fingers, lousy made it. Fourth Raikage shook his left hand and hummed. To be honest, at least it's better than the original book with a whole arm missing. Not to mention that Third Raikage is many times stronger than the 2 pillars of the original 5 Shadows talk. The opponent you are facing now is many times stronger than your father. Onoki's wrinkled face was saturated with sweat, and his tone began to tremble. Baffa. The Sengoku duo, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, who ended the Sengoku era and created the Ninamura era. As a remnant party who has experienced that era, no one knows the horror of these 2 men better than Onoki. Is Impure World reincarnation again? This is really not a good ninjutsu. Advertisement at this moment, Senju Hashirama finally regained his self-awareness, patted his forehead and pointed to his younger brother who was also summoned not far away and rebuked. Tobarama, so I told you not to develop this technique anymore. Even Hashirama has been summoned. Are you confident that you can control this guy? Uchiha Madara squinted at Senju Hashirama, who was to his side. He always had the character of the second child as his boss. His face was extremely rare and jealous. The existence summoned by the White Zetsu body as a sacrifice is enough to restrain the god of the ninja world. White Zetsu, who had lost his right hand, replied. That's it, Hashirama's words really have this value. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara felt a little relieved. Lost the White Zetsu body, but to the extent that it can control Senju Hashirama, it is not a loss. But that Byakugan girl is very troublesome. She has a unique way to relieve the rebirth of the filthy fellow. The White Zetsu avatar reminded again. Madara, it seems that you planned a lot of things without my knowledge. Senju Hashirama turned his head and twisted his eyebrows, facing his old friend. Uchiha Madara's gaze stayed on Hinata for a second, then immediately turned his attention to Senju Hashirama and sneered coldly. I just want to realize the real big dream. At this time, the 5 shadow forces on the opposite side had assembled in the ninja allied forces. Noting that her husband was not there, Terumi Mei couldn't help but frowned and asked. By the way, why didn't the light come? Uchiha Kwan responded. The Everbright people are dealing with other enemies. Terumi Mei's glamorous facial features are shocked, and the situation is very dangerous right now, and she doesn't have to ask too much. Master Madara. Suddenly, Black Zetsu's voice echoed in Uchiha Madara's mind. The time is urgent. Obito only caught 4 tail beasts, but fortunately, the other 5 are in the present. Now we must race against time to capture the remaining tail beasts and resurrect 10 tails. Uchiha Madara's eyes were faint, and he responded inwardly. Is the situation so serious? Black Zetsu's voice sounded again. Yes, the opponent has the strongest combat power. Yèyuè Guāng, the first person in the Cloud Shinobi Village who surpassed you and Senju Hashirama, is currently very lucky to be entangled by other people and cannot come. We must seize this great opportunity and hurry. Resurrect 10 tails.